Blynd Submyshynz, where DIY bands submit songs for us to listen and react to blind. Every week, we'll bring a guest from the underground music, arts, or entertainment scene to help you sort through mountains of new music. We go in blind, so you don't have to. Blynd Submyshynz.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to
Another episode of Blynd Submyshynz.
All right.
I'm going to have to put together like a quick cut of like all of our
All of
intros,
those.
just all of the,
The thing
the horrible intros.
literally nobody wants to watch or listen to.
Exactly nobody. They're like, well, that was so interesting. No,
No.
nobody will say that.
Supercut.
Not at
You know
all.
what? I think we'll let someone else put a supercut of something from this together.
Yeah.
Maybe Justin, good buddy Justin Rogers,
There we
informed
go.
us that we finally made it an episode without talking about corn.
Yeah. Did we?
I think it's in the front half. I think it's in the first half of the episodes.
Maybe.
There was a whole lot of fieldy and corn, although it did come up with Armand too. So
Yeah, it did. It did.
guess we love corn.
And the funny thing was that it was like I think it was 2 days. It was in the week after that episode had aired. Somebody that was also on that tour, it was actually the singer of Orange 9mm, shared a flyer from that tour. So it was kind of funny that
that's
it
cool.
was like, oh, we were just talking about that.
Well, you know what else is? You told me this. That's super interesting. Sort of the interconnections of all of this stuff is. We finished up with Billy, and then JD remembered that Billy Anderson produced one of his very favorite "Sick of It All" records. Which one?
Back in '95.
In '95.
Yeah, Scratch the Surface.
Scratch the Surface, and then so Billy and Armand connected on Instagram.
Yeah, on our post.
Sweet.
It's kind of funny. It's a small world, man.
Yeah, it is it's a small world, but in Billy's case, it's a fucking massive resume is what it is.
Oh, it's crazy too. I don't think I realized exactly. Like I knew Billy was very prolific and had done a lot, but looking at that list of things, I did not realize how much he touched into even like indie and emo and like original emo. Like he produced for like Jawbreaker and Jawbox and Jets to like all of these like crazy like early emo bands.
I tried to pull his credits into Excel and sort it into something that looked nice so that I could make a single post just so that you can kind of bask in the enormity of it. You know.
Yeah.
Your favorite Neurosis record, Billy. Your favorite Melvin's record, Billy. Probably your favorite Mr. Bungle
Favorite
record.
hardcore record.
Favorite sleep.
Sick of It All.
Favorite sleep record.
Billy.
I mean, and into more extreme stuff, and then, like you said, into more like mainstream and indie stuff.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's interesting, and I think we're going to, sort of with Billy, and I think it's totally coincidental, but. We talk about every episode. This is the part where you take a shot if you're playing that game. We talk about how the music industry, especially underground, is more than just the musicians, right? It's more than the musicians and the venues. It's the artists and the producers and the engineers. And we had Billy on. Producer engineer, and then today we've got Chris Hughes on, producer engineer and artist. And next week we're gonna have Andy Patterson on, producer engineer. So we're gonna hear from a different side. We're probably gonna get a really good take on a lot of the music we listen to.
Yeah, totally. And then also on deck is Sasha Dunable, who's producer, guitar builder. Like hardcore, not just building custom guitars, but actually built a real business and has a growing guitar line. So
yeah,
does take a few different hustles to get it done for sure.
It does.
And
it does.
So as JD said already, today we will be interviewing Chris Hughes. Aside from being a friend of mine, Chris is engineer, producer, mastering engineer, multi-instrumentalist, musician, and all-around good dude, live engineer if you twist his arm just right.
Yeah.
He was the engineer and mixer on our first record, and he assisted Billy in the studio on the second record. So spent a lot of time in a studio with Chris and just talking about music in general. So let's not waste it. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, for anybody that has been listening, we actually checked out his sort of side project band, Silent Type.
That's right.
On an earlier episode.
We did.
So
yeah,
this is that guy.
He submitted music. The episode that was all music that I knew already.
Yeah.
It's a breaking format in the first 3 episodes. Pretty smart there.
Why not? It's our show. We can do what we want.
We can do whatever the fuck we want.
Do what I want.
Just like that guy said on YouTube. Hey, what did he call me? The guy who said I talk too much.
Oh, you talk too much. The guy in the Epicenter shirt talks too much.
Hey, guy in the Epicenter shirt. Why do you talk so much?
I think that you know what? It's funny too because as soon as I saw that comment, my immediate thought was, "This isn't an interview show. We have on guests, but this is a conversation.
Yeah,
this is not an interview show where it's like we ask a question and then let them sort of riff for 20 minutes on each one.
We're back and forth, and I mean, and in truth, I like to talk.
Yeah,
you know, fight me.
Yeah,
not really.
Exactly.
Just
not
leave,
really. We don't want to fight anybody.
And then I'll leave stupid replies.
Exactly.
And that's about as far as I feel like going. All right. So without further ado,
let's get Chris in here.
Chris Hughes, through the magic of the internet and the Zoom machine, is with us. Hey, what's up, Chris?
Hey.
Yes. Yes. Oh, I can't wait. We're going to have real clean audio locally recorded instead of the Zoom bullshit for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
Very excited.
Yeah, did we even tell our listeners that the audio cut out the last 2 times and that's why the last 2 shows maybe not have sounded as good?
I didn't. You know what? I didn't say a word. Not a goddamn word. I didn't feel like it.
Well, there you go.
How are you doing this fine? What day is it? Sunday?
No, it's Monday. It's always Monday, remember?
It's like it's always impossible to know what day it is. I'm constantly wrong, but this particular day I'm doing all right.
On this podcast, it's always Monday.
It's always Monday.
There you go.
Until I'm late in producing an episode, and then maybe it's
Tuesday morning.
It's Tuesday morning. We'll see. We'll see. So how you doing, man? Chris used to live up here in the Bay Area, and in the middle of the pandies during the demic, moved his family down to Southern California. What's it like down there?
It's pretty nice.
Yeah,
live really close to the beach. It's always sunny. Can't complain too much.
What part are you in?
I'm in Long Beach, so pretty much LA.
Nice. LBC.
Yeah, LBC.
Ooh,
that's cool.
I swam in the ocean in Long Beach when I was in college down in Southern California, and I got out like 10 minutes later, immediately felt queasy. The water seemed very wrong.
I mean, there's a giant port right there, and a lot of stuff like that. I got in there once, and I was like, yeah, I like ocean swimming. I'm gonna get in there. Like, there's no waves. This is gonna be great. And I was in there, and I was just like, I don't think this should be getting in my mouth.
No,
you know what I mean? So I'm like, maybe not.
You know, it's bad when you can immediately sense that something's wrong there. And I actually had. Maybe we can make a catalog of all the weird fucking jobs I've had, but. Freshman year in college, I had a job in the biology department at school, analyzing water samples from the Long Beach. There's a power plant right there, and they're doing a long-term study on the effect of the exhaust from the power plant on the sea life population. So they just take water and you put it in a slide, and you just count how many whatevers you see, how many fish larvae and different kind of bacteria and whatever else you can find.
Interesting.
And
what's the strangest job you've ever had, Chris?
Done that?
No, that was it. Yeah, no,
I talk about that sometimes, so I'm like aware. It's probably worse now.
I mean, but imagine, seriously, for like 5 hours a day, just counting microorganisms on a slide. It was the most mind-numbing, awful, boring shit I ever did.
You just need to have a good podcast in the background to listen to while you do it, right?
Yeah, it didn't exist yet.
Not back then.
Sorry. No, I had my Walkman.
There you go.
Exactly. This was still
portable
the age of
music.
tapes.
Yeah, my Sony Sports. Might have had a Discman by then. That was like
probably a Discman,
92.
I still have my Sony Sports Discman. I just found it in the garage the other day.
They were terrible though. The anti-skipping was never good, and so the portable CD was just not meant to be.
I just remember having it in like the giant zip pockets of the pants back then, and like it would fit, and it would just be like this giant thing in this like giant pocket, but like not up where your hip is, like down on your leg by your knee, and you just
that's why cargo.
Yeah.
That's why cargo pants and shorts were invented, for the Sony Walkmans.
Yeah. All right. Here's a quiz then. So it's whatever year that was. You've got your Discman in your giant pocket. What are you bumping? What are you listening to?
Back then. You're gonna hate me for this.
No, it's okay.
I was all on the Korn. That was my jam.
So we just talked. We just talked about it. We got called out for not being
Hope
able.
you took a shot, Justin.
Justin took a shot.
I knew this was gonna like bring up some stuff.
I don't hate Korn. Here's the thing. No, I loved that first record too, and owned a copy of it.
Yeah.
I just hate Fieldy's bass playing. That's all.
I
Just
get
to be
that
clear.
now.
Yeah.
I do get that now. Like at the
Yeah.
time, I was
yeah.
like, "This is so awesome," and like, "Oh, this is what like music's supposed to sound like." And yeah, now I'm just like, okay,
All right.
it must have been a little tough, but
Yeah.
yeah. It
No,
was what it
like I
was.
mean, I think the vocal performance on that first record is pretty insane. I think there's good songs.
Oh, it was-
I don't
yeah.
know. I don't want to be the anti-Korn guy because I'm not. But
Yeah.
I did see them. I believe. Fuck, when it was like, I say it was a New Year's Eve show. That, and I could be totally wrong. Internet sleuths, feel free to look this up. But I think it was like a 2000. It was like a year 2000 New Year's Eve show that was Metallica, Tool, and Korn.
Family Values tour.
At the Shark Tank.
Oh, were they on
They
the Family
called it
Values
the
tour?
Family Values tour. That was the Korn tour. It was Family Values tour.
Was it?
That's right. I
That was
remember
like
that.
the first show I went to was one of those. Yeah.
Really? Yeah, it was. I think it was like a special New Year's Eve show, and I was there because somebody that I worked with is in the same family as the Budweiser distributors down here, and they own a box at the arena. And I was like, "Shit, I'll go sit in the box.
I'll go.
I'll go sit in the box and watch that."
Drink beer.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that
Nice.
sounds awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
my jam,
J-
dude.
JD's been to a Korn show. JD saw Korn open for Sick of It All after they were famous, but couldn't
Not
drop
huge.
from this little tour.
Wow.
Yeah, it was. I
Oh,
think that's what it
actually cool.
was. Yeah, I think it was. I actually I worked for this music magazine back in the day, and the publisher was a Sony rep. And it was right after they got signed to Sony on that first one, and he was promoting them. And so we had a business meeting, right? And we were up at his house, and he had this pile of CDs, and we'd always just go through them and grab all the promos. And
Yeah.
I popped that Korn CD in on my way home in the dark, and I was like, "What the
Yeah.
fuck? This is amazing!"
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
love that
pissed
record.
off and so angry and so good.
Yeah.
But and then I think it was right about that time when Sony started pushing them that they hadn't exploded yet, and they got signed on to that Sick of It All on Orange 9mm tour with these, big hardcore bands, but nowhere near as big as Korn is now.
Yeah, no.
They were opening.
And they were opening. They were the openers,
That's
and
hilarious.
They had a bus.
The other bands showed
Yeah.
up in their vans and everything, and then they show up
had,
in
like,
this
roadies.
giant bus with no roadies, but they had a line of girls waiting outside the bus, which was
yeah.
just ridiculous. And everybody at that show was just shaking their heads like,
Well,
"What the fuck is this?"
What Armand said was on that tour, like the Korn fans would show up and they'd come and watch Korn and then they'd leave. And then the
Totally.
hardcore people would stick around and watch the other two.
There, I feel like I think my audio just dropped out. Hold on. Yep, CPU overload. Thank you, Pro Tools.
Oh boy. Yeah, that's the problem I just solved. Sorry for making everybody listen to the last two episodes
I'll
of
clap.
Zoom audio.
I've got it in
We
the
got-
background there. Okay, we're good now.
Okay.
All
Might
right.
happen again, but whatever.
But yeah.
We'll just leave it in, man. So
Yeah,
that's
whatever.
that's the real world.
Why did we
Values
start
of
talking
audio.
about Korn again?
Because what was he
Walkmans.
listening to in his Walkman?
Oh,
All right.
yeah.
It was like that, Slipknot, Metallica, Tool, System of a Down, but mostly Korn.
Yeah.
I own it. I own at least one CD from every single one of those bands.
Mm-hmm. My guess is I was probably listening to like early Tool, like the first CD, maybe
Yeah, I like-
Undertow.
It was Linkin Park that kind of opened me up to the whole like heavy scene. 'Cause I had like a radio in my room, and like it was Radio Disney through like elementary school. And I remember like one day just kind of like hitting the skip button, like going through all the channels, and then Linkin Park came on. I was like, what's this? Like they're screaming, there's guitars, and then like from there it was just like I was in that perfect time of like new metal and like but everyone still worshipped Metallica and like the classics. So it was a cool thing to come up through.
Yeah, Linkin Park is one I'm just going to refrain to speak about because it can go south pretty fast with me.
Not my gig.
Yeah,
Not my thing. No.
we had a really funny experience yesterday. We took the kids and went hiking and like split our kids up so each car had half kids from our family and half kids from the other. And both cars, I think, let the kids take
They play DJ.
take the music remote. So the car ride was like an episode of this show because they would play something for me, and I was like, that's actually not too bad.
Yeah.
But found some band that they love called Mother.
Yeah.
That some like Canadian indie band, and not bad actually. Kind of crazy.
It's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the songs sound very different from each other.
Yeah.
It's not like a consistent sound, but it was a hell of a lot better and more interesting than most of the drivel that's on the top of the charts.
To me, they sounded like one of those YouTube bands, but I guess they're not. You know how you can tell the difference between a band that got started on YouTube and a band that got started in a jam space?
Like people who played together for a long time, or
Yeah,
exactly. And most of the YouTube bands just have backing tracks from some. It's all samples.
Yeah,
they're not usually playing anything.
Free stuff.
It's free stuff.
Or buying some
type
cheap
beats. Oh
sample.
man,
Yeah.
Chris knows.
Yeah.
So what have you been up to? Have you been working on any projects in the last since March? What have you been working
pretty
on?
busy. Yeah. I've only been actually recording 2 records this year, just because all the studios are closed. So that's kind of a drag, but lots of mixing, which has been nice. So I'm lucky in my new place. I have a room dedicated to just mixing, and the neighbors don't get pissed. I chose a room where there's no walls, ceilings, or floors that are shared by anyone else. Like there's garages below me. So that's working out really nice. I can get really loud in here and do work.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, I've been doing a compilation record for an Oakland label called OIM Records. They've been just finding artists from all over the world and sending me songs, but here, mix this. It's all going to go on a record eventually. I'm like, okay.
Wow.
So it's something different every day. I just got something from Iceland. This dude is some I haven't really dug into it yet, but cello and ambient guitars. And then other ones are shoegaze indie bands, and other ones are more electronic based stuff. So it's nice to have something different every day. So
that's
I dig
cool.
that. Yeah,
that's
awesome. You can hone different areas of the different skill sets required to mix that kind of different music.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
Is it a lot of sort of the home recordings too? One of the topics that's kind of come up in previous episodes is that people are recording these home albums and then sending them somewhere to get them, mixed.
Mixed.
I do
make
a
them sound
lot of that. I do a lot of that.
Yeah.
Probably 70% is that. And the rest of it is what I've recorded or has been recorded nicely,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing that we can all get this stuff relatively cheaply now and get an interface and get, the amp emulators or, whatever kind of music you're playing and at least get a facsimile of what you're thinking down.
Yeah.
It's a lot of stuff that's really demos or, recording prep that's turning into finished product that ends up on Bandcamp, and I'm fine with that.
It's cool. Yeah. One of the records I got to do this year, we did 20 songs in a week or something. But the dude had it all planned out. We did a hybrid where he did a lot of his own recording. So we had a bunch of scratch tracks. He gave me all of the scratch tracks, all of the BPMs to all the songs. Got his band to show up in the studio, and we cut all the drums. We got bass, guitar, some percussion stuff. All that's the drums was really why he wanted to be in the studio.
Yeah, of course.
And it was nice because it fit in his budget. He was able to pay me to mix it, which is nice. It's not just I blew my budget on a month of recording. So, and it was here's the drums, here's all the stuff we recorded, and then he spent a month doing his vocals and adding little bits of things here and there and horns and stuff, and then sent it back, and it's but that's usable.
Yeah,
that's
cool.
awesome.
That's cool. We're seeing so much ingenuity and so much, just people budging about how they think this process should go. It's a battle I'm currently fighting in my own band as we try to figure out how to get together to record our Deep Purple cover. And and some people just think that the only way to do it is to be together in a studio, and and maybe that's true. Maybe for some bands that's just the way it's going to have to be. But people are definitely exploring new ways of putting music together.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
Yeah, completely. I mean, I think half the stuff that gets sent to us is all stuff that is all pandemic releases that people did in their basements or
the pandy
remote
and the pandy jams.
Yep.
So this is a question I always ask people who produce music. Do you listen? Do you have the time and energy to listen to a lot of music these days outside of work?
Yeah, I do my best, but it actually is kind of a challenge sometimes. I'll mix 6-8 hours a day just for my ears. I don't want to go too much over that. So sometimes when I'm done, I'm I don't want to listen to music,
Yeah,
or I don't want to. it's important to me when I listen to music that I want to make like an event of it. Like I want to like put a record on my turntable and like listen to it through speakers, or like at least have good headphones, or play it through my rig here. And it's like after a day of work, sometimes I'm just like, last thing I want to do is sit here and listen to 40 minutes more of music. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're like, I need to exercise my other senses.
Exactly. So what I do now is like, I wake up early to like go exercise, and I'll listen to music during that. And that it's like a nice way to start the day. It's not like an ideal listening situation, but it scratches both itches.
What's the song on your exercise playlist? What's that one pump me up jam?
I don't do playlists. I do albums.
Really?
I do full albums. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Same here.
It's not even like I need to get pumped up for my workout. It's like, what's something that I've been meaning to listen to for like a really long time. And like I went through like the Blondie catalog recently. Like that was on there. But then the next week is like the 9 Inch Nails catalog up to a certain point. So it's just, random stuff.
Yeah. I'm an album listener too, for the most part. The only playlists on my Spotify that I made are the like Halloween and father-daughter dance playlists for work and events at our kids' elementary school.
I have so many playlists. I'm a playlist
I put one
guy.
together for our wedding a few years ago, and I have like a cool songs playlist I created, and I constantly add things to it, but I never like go back to it. I'm just like, oh, this is cool, add that to that, so I remember later about this band or this song or something, but I never go back to it.
That's funny. Yeah, I don't know what it is. And sometimes like on the streaming services, I'll listen to an album, and then I'll just let it guide me after that, so the album will run out. And that's how I found Moontooth.
Yeah,
because I was just listening to Husbandry on Amazon Music, and the album finished up, and they're like, "Ooh, you liked Husbandry?
There's some other stuff.
Check out this other band from New York." And I was like, yeah. Have you had a chance to listen to them yet, or do you know anything about them?
I don't.
So you haven't listened to every episode of this podcast where we're shoving them down everyone's throats? No, sure that's one to add to that list, but actually go back and listen to it. It'll blow you away.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
When you guys did the one with Susie, you kept mentioning Russian, or no, the one when you talked about my song, you kept bringing up Russian Circles, and I was like, it's been a long time since I listened to them, so I went through their whole catalog. I was like, oh yeah, these guys are good.
Yeah,
so good.
They're super good. I love all that like shoegazy post metal.
Oh yeah.
Russian Circles, Red Sparrows. There was a chunk of time where I just listened to from Baroness, then through Isis Pelican, Russian Circles. That's all I listened to for like a year when one of my kids was little. I forget why, but yeah, I love that. I love all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's the kind of, it's like the background music.
Yeah.
To me. Yeah. You don't have to pay attention. I mean, you'd pay attention, but you don't have to listen to lyrics.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it makes it easier to do other things.
It's a nice thing to like put on and drive to, stuff like that.
Yeah, completely.
I also like to active listen to it sometimes, because it's like mesmerizing stuff. It's almost like the same thing you would get out of meditating, or it's I don't know, intense for me to listen to, like pay attention, use it both ways.
Yeah,
I like the intense music, but more post rock stuff, like Explosions in the Sky.
Yeah,
like it got heavy, but not like metal heavy.
Yeah,
like they were playing like metal type stuff, but with like Fender guitar. It was like an indie band that got heavy and intense. I was really into that for a long time.
They're so
music,
good. Yeah, they got like, I remember, didn't they blow up because they had some song that was on like Friday Night Lights soundtrack or something?
I think they did the
like
soundtrack
they were this totally obscure band for so long, and then all of a sudden they got a song on Friday Night Lights, and boom, everybody knows who they are.
That's crazy.
Good for them.
Seriously, for a band like that to get to where they are now, it's
exactly.
That doesn't happen often.
No, and I count them as sort of like the result of kind of peak Smashing Pumpkins and Hum, those indie-ish rock bands that flirted more with metal than anyone else, and did this like wall of sound ambient thing too. I always loved those bands, man. After the first time I heard Siamese Dream, I was like, I want a band, and I want there to be 10 guitar players.
Yeah, totally.
You don't have to do that anymore. You could just bring tracks with
10 tracks.
But
yeah, that album's fantastic though. Yeah, that's that. Every time I go back to it, I'm like, damn, like that's just a solid album. It's just really, like so good.
I like the rawness of Gish better. Gish has some songs that I really love, but as an album, Siamese Dream is hard to fuck with.
Oh yeah,
You know this.
they're both. Even that little B side one that Pisces Iscariot that they put out, that was really good too.
Yeah, that was good. Did you ever hear this, or not the story, but you know what he recorded the guitars for that album on, for the most part, is like a shitty.
No, I don't know.
A shitty crate combo, like
Really?
not kidding, that he then sold on Reverb for like an ungodly amount of money, like $5,000 or $10,000.
It was just
for the
exactly.
the little 8-inch crate.
Totally. I had one of those. That was like my first amp. Was those? I remember I didn't know what distortion was, but I was into like heavy bands, and like my mom, my uncle gave me a guitar, and I needed an amp, and she was just like, "Well, here, I got you this one. It doesn't have reverb. I'm not really sure what that is." And I was playing it, and it wasn't like heavy. And it's like, "Yeah, I need reverb. Like that's what I'm missing." And like not even the same, you know.
So what was it that made you want to do that?
Yeah.
What was it that turned you on to music and really made you want to actually start playing?
It was like kind of that time where I was getting into, when I was finding my own music, like Korn, which led to just, I remember specifically like having a computer and like it was Yahoo Music, I think. Yeah. You could go and they would just have music videos, and you couldn't like pick videos, like you would hit ads and stuff like that. So you'd pick a genre, and so I'd like, metal or alt or something like that, and then you would just like sit and watch and see what happened. You had no control over it. So like I think that's how I found out about Slipknot, and then just like, you know, the weird screamo bands of the day that I was into at that time, and just like finding music and like but actually seeing the videos and people playing guitar and stuff, and like got a guitar, and I was like, I want to make something with it, see what I can do, just, you know, fuck around with it. And
how old were you when you got your first guitar?
I was definitely like, I think a freshman, maybe middle school. I took like a guitar lesson, like classical guitar, when I was younger, with like an acoustic guitar, but like didn't stick at all. But yeah, my uncle gave me an electric guitar one time, and I was just like, cool, doing this. I think I like quit sports after that and like grew my hair out. I was just like full rebellious. I'm like, I'm only going to be in my room playing guitar. Like, don't even talk to me, you know?
Rock and roll ruins lives.
Yeah, no, I mean, that was 100% my experience. I tried out for the football team freshman year, and I went to a school that has a really like competitive, nationally even competitive football team. Got cut in the last round of cuts. Then so I was like, I guess I should do another sport. So I wrestled, which is actually a sport that I enjoyed. But I got injured, dislocated my knee a couple times. And my best friend, Paul Hamilton, was played guitar and was kind of a wizard. Like at 15, he was a total wizard. And so I just go hang out at his house, and I was like, well, I want to hang out and play, but I'm not going to play guitar. And then, you know, I had always been a fan of, you know, Rush and other kind of bass forward music. And I was like, I want to play bass. Like, I'm not even interested in guitar. And then we can play together. You know, we just need to find a drummer, of course. But no, it was freshman year. You know, I was off the wrestling team. And then that was just it. I didn't like, most other extracurricular activities just disappeared once I started playing. It was like lock yourself in your room, like figure something out. I took one lesson, but the rest of it was just put on music and figure it out and then play it.
Yep.
So
that's how you did it.
Tabs, ultimateguitartabs.com. You know, I remember BYOB from System of a Down, learning that one, and then just quickly diving into trying to write stuff, riffs, just anything.
Did you get into any like bands that actually played shows in high school?
No.
I
was in the suburbs and outside of Denver, so there weren't any good shows around me at all.
There was nothing.
Like, there, nothing. And I didn't really have. I had friends who were into metal, but like, it was like Metallica and you know, big bands. I didn't like. I knew about Havoc because they're a Denver band. They were like the most local band I ever knew about in Denver at that time, and I never even got to see them. I listened to them on MySpace though. You know, there was nothing. There was no venues. There was no shows. And I didn't. Really get to go to
move
Denver
back
to see
there now.
either.
It's a little different.
Yeah,
totally. Yeah, it's awesome there.
Yeah.
What do they say?
Where I grew up, but
Denver's the heaviest.
Denver's heavy, there is a lot of heavy bands.
I think that's like their local slogan.
Denver's is it?
Denver is heaviest or
Denver's
something.
I think that was happening when I was out there, but like I wasn't close enough to the city.
Yeah.
And like I couldn't just drive out there every night. Like my parents would never have allowed that to happen. I don't know.
Yeah.
I would literally like go into my room, get like the portable CD player, buy CDs, pop those in, and just sit there in my bed in the dark and like, you know, and then I was like fucking with like the bass controls, like turn the bass all the way up and listen to the song, and then listen to it again with the bass all the way down and like stuff like that.
And that's when it all began,
kind of nerd,
right? Yeah. And you're still just tweaking EQ knobs most of the time.
Pretty much, yep.
as I have figured out producing this thing. Figuring out EQ and how it works and what it does. It's been an interesting journey. And actually, Chris, I will publicly acknowledge that when we were first starting to put this together, I sat down and Chris kind of ran me through and did a crash course on teaching me how to run most of the equipment that I have here and how to, multi-track record while doing the Zoom. And so it was super helpful. And basic lessons on production. So, hey, Chris is out there. He's a man of many talents. And if you're like, I'd like to start a podcast, but I don't know. I don't fucking know where to start. And with the equipment and the technology, he's got a very reasonable teaching rate. And with the power of Zoom, we just went out in the back and I set up a camera so he could see my shit. And and then he's like, all right, what's that? What's going on over there? So no, it was rad.
So all of the progress you've heard from our podcast is all because of Chris.
Not counting
I
the
don't know
last
about that.
not counting the last 2 episodes.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So at what point did you take that leap into like production engineering? You went to school up here, right?
Yeah, I did music in Santa Barbara, like theory. That wasn't really going to get me anywhere, so I ended up getting my degree in Emeryville at Expression, which was all recording, all that kind of stuff. I think it was in high school. I was playing guitar. I found a drummer, but he like kind of just had a drum kit. He wasn't really a drummer, and I really wanted to be in a band. So I would like go over there. I'd bring all my guitar stuff. I had my crate amp I'd bring over, and my guitar.
Your reverb
had
pedal,
bats on it. Yeah. Oh no, that was built into the amp, man. But like I think we jammed like once or twice, and like he just wasn't really into it. I kept trying to go over there, and I kept bringing my guitars, but he kept like not. We just would hang out and stuff. But he had a computer with Reason on it. Reason, the software.
Yep.
Basically at that time it was just like a drum machine, some synthesizers and a program. So he started showing me that, and then I started like messing around with that. I ended up getting a copy of it, and that is kind of what sold my soul in a way. Like, okay, I don't even need a keyboard. Like I was doing musical typing on my laptop back then, of like making chords with synths and stuff. And I just did that for years and years and years because I couldn't find anyone to like play music with. And then when I started finding people to play music with, I would want more control. You know what I mean? I'd be like, well, the drums need to do this, because I was so used to programming like drum parts. And it's like, yeah, well, for the chorus, you should switch over to the ride from the hi-hat. So it kind of just ended up me being like, I found out later on that what I was doing was producing,
Yeah.
And I always just felt like I had my hand. I wanted to do too many things. Like I'd hear Korn records, like I want to make the heaviest record ever. And then I would hear like Pink Floyd and like, but I also want it to be psychedelic and like really slow and nice. And so I could never really pick a genre.
Yeah. You were learning to be a good producer and a bad bandmate.
Yeah, pretty much. I've been a terrible bandmate over the years.
That's
in
hilarious.
The bands that I've been in,
and every band kind of finds their level, and there are plenty of bands that are made up of one person, and then more like a bunch of hired guns or people just less engaged, less involved. Bands like Ghost, are propelled forward by one person's vision, and if you don't like it, he'll just kick you out and replace you with another faceless. It's fucking totally genius.
Yep.
But it was funny you said distortion in that crate amp, and I think we all found distortion in that crate amp as soon as the volume
Channel
got
2
hot.
or whatever.
Well, no, I had a bass amp, but as soon as the volume got like over 3, the speaker would start to fart. So it was the beautiful distortion of a shitty speaker farting.
Yep.
So, yeah, you had the fancy 2-channel.
I think so. Yeah, it was still like the 8-inch, really tiny, like the just bass kit from Guitar Center or whatever.
Yeah, it's amazing because I bought, just so that I would have a guitar amp, I bought a little it's like a 5-watt Black Star tube amp. You know, it's tiny. It's like that big. The thing is fucking great. It sounds amazing, and it's amazing that you can get like a really nice tube amp in a small form factor like that. I tried to get Carl to use it in the studio. You were in there trying to tame that fucking Laney in the guitar room. Him trying to record is like, God.
I remember that when I recorded it. It was a beast.
Yeah,
he had everything turned all the way up.
Well, and it was one thing when we were all in the big room together, but when Billy crammed him and that amp into the little isolation room.
Well, from what I remember, he wanted to be in there because Billy was like, "Yeah, you should be over there with the drums." Like, no, I need to be in front of my amp, which makes sense.
He does. When you watch him play, since he's a no pedal all amp gain player, like his proximity to the amp and his movement actually affects the tone. Yeah. And so he kind of has to be right there with it. Yeah. But it was a pain in the ass because he's locked in this little closet and we're like trying to talk to him. He can't hear anything through the headphones because his amp
back like crazy.
Yeah, his 100-watt amp is like,
yeah.
So after that, I was like, maybe you should look at like a 25 watt or 50, something you can use in the studio a little more reasonably.
Studio amps, it's a good investment for sure because you get the sound. You never know when you hear it back, but
absolutely, yeah. It was fun. We had Billy on last week too, and I hadn't talked to Billy since they were out here last year in September when we did the Bowling and Beers in Hell. It was fun to catch up with Billy. He's been busy too, working on all kinds of shit. So.
Yeah, I saw that the high tone son of a bitch thing that they just did that they recorded with Jake.
Oh, the live thing. Yeah, it was cool. It was really good, wasn't it?
That was super cool. Yeah.
Did you watch the Worshipper set? Those guys are good dudes.
That was day one, right? Or was that the second one? Because they did 2 days, right?
I think they were the same day as High Tone, just earlier in the day, but they might have been one of the other days. But that one was actually engineered and recorded by Chris Johnson, who is like on the East. Well, he's the bass player for Deaf Heaven, but he's also like an up and coming engineer producer on the East Coast. He's in a band called Summoner, and that's his band. And then he has his own studio, and then he goes up to God City a lot and tracks people at Kurt Ballew's studio. So he's a super good dude, and he's friends with actually Jarvis from Worshipper plays drums in Summoner too. And nice. So he did a really killer job on that live recording. I was super impressed with how good
really
it sounded. Yeah. It's crazy coincidences because Paul Cott, who is the main guy, not front person, but he's the architect behind High Tone, is a East Bay guy, and he actually was in one of Matt Pike's side projects early on, Callous, where Matt didn't actually even play guitar. I think Matt just sang.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Weird. It was some. They were friends. I think it was just one of those fun, like, hey, let's fuck around and do something different. But he's actually from the same town in Maine, the tiny town in Maine that John Brookhouse, the guitar player and singer for Worshipper, is from. And then they got separated, 30 years ago or whatever, and then got to know each other again because their bands started doing things together.
That's really
so
cool.
crazy.
Power of music, man.
Yeah, for sure. That's what we should change the title of this podcast to. That's the power of music, man.
Power of music.
Well, like we said before you hopped on, we had Armand from Sick of It All, the drummer for Sick of It All, like pioneering hardcore band on, and then we had Billy on right after that, and then JD looked at Billy's credits and he produced his favorite Sick of It All record.
Yeah.
And then Armand and Billy connected off of the post from the show that hadn't seen or talked to each other. And
probably since then.
Yeah, probably since then. Probably not because...
It's been 30 years.
Yeah, because Billy was very West Coast for, at some point. And I'm curious. I'll have to bug him about that. But when you look at his discography and that kind of switch between the indie bands and that early stuff that he was doing and the really heavy stuff, I wonder if it had to do with like a physical move. Like when he came out to the Bay Area,
I wonder
was then most of the opportunity for him in heavy music, heavy metal,
or it was just probably a label.
Yeah,
label thing, or just like the studio you're working at and like what kind of people are coming in.
Yeah. I mean, he was a real busy live engineer too. I mean, the first time I was actually ever aware of him was because he was the touring engineer for the Mr. Bungle and the Melvins.
Oh, okay.
In like
he was their live guy. That's right.
Late 80s, early 90s.
Man, the tape op article that's about him, and when he's talking about the Mr. Bungle like sessions and like how many tracks on tape they were working with, it's like,
yes,
that's insane. I don't know how you could do that.
Those articles are killer. If you're not aware of what Chris is talking about, it was a website called Tape Op.
It's a magazine, but they're all online too. Yeah,
and it's like interview. Well, it probably has other stuff, but all I've read are interviews of people, studio engineers, stories of these like insane experiences recording on tape, like old school tape in the studio.
Cut them together,
and Billy talked to us about the Bungle albums when we were in the studio in Oakland. He said, told the crazy stories about what they had to do because they had so many tracks,
tape machines and stuff like that, and all the things that had to go on for that to work, and it's insane.
Yeah, what did he say? They had to link 4 tape machines.
Yeah, because I don't remember what the exact number was, but I think they were getting near like 100 tracks or something like that.
Yeah, it was like 78 tracks on one.
Yeah. The normal tape machine is like 24 tracks, and one of them is time code, so 23. And if you're really like, you don't really want to have anything on 23 to mess with the time code, so 22 tracks per reel, so you got to link a bunch up, and
that's insane. Do you work with tape ever?
I prefer not to.
Yeah.
and it sounds great. I like, usually the bands aren't ready for it because you're limited in so many ways, like the number of tracks being one, but another one being if you're working at 15 IPS, which is just the speed of the tape, you only got 30 minutes a reel. You know what I mean? So if you're trying to fit as many songs as you can, you're on that last song and you're like, oh, we might run out. Like, should I tell them so they stop, but it's a really good take, or maybe it cuts off or something like that. I mean, you can mess up so easily. If it's a perfect take, but someone hits a wrong chord, you can't just fix it real fast and save it. You have to either punch in or redo it. So like everyone's just like, oh, tape's so much better, but it's like, really it's not. It's like sonically sure, but you can make it sound that way digitally these days.
Yeah,
so I prefer not to.
That's what Billy said too. He's like, and watching him or you or anyone like kind of live edit and live produce in session.
Yeah,
someone who has a real facility with Pro Tools or whatever DAW they're using is like, to me, with my limited experience touching this thing, blows my fucking mind, like how fast you move around. You go from because it is probably the most complicated piece of software. A digital audio workstation is a fucking complex piece of software, and it's not intuitive even slightly. Like what buttons you gotta press. As I stare at mine right now, I'm just like, it's a fucking mess, man.
Yeah.
So then to have somebody like comp together a take like 10 seconds after you walk out of the room is like, because he's in the middle of it, it's recording, doing its thing, but he's just like a magician. Is awesome.
It's you're doing the exact same things you would do on tape, you're just way faster.
Yeah, just he goes, I can make it sound like it was on tape. He's like, I don't want to do that anymore.
No, digital has caught up. So all the arguments of like, oh, analog's so much better, it's like not really anymore. Like it's still fun to do tape, but like both the engineer and the band needs to be like 100% clear what that means, and most of the time one of them is not.
Yeah, both people like the danger of it, I think, a little bit. There's some when you're really seasoned, the danger of it can be the fun.
It's a good challenge.
But what did he say? I think he said like Patton would say, "Oh, we need to punch in and like add a horn stab here or something like that," and then it would take an hour and a half to load the clip because of the 4.
Just like if you're out of tracks, you were like, all right, well, all the drums need to go down to stereo, so you got to pre-mix it. And then if you want to go back to those drums later, you have to print all the drums onto a different reel so that they're all preserved. And then like, all right, now they're on 2. Now we have all these tracks open, and then you add that one little thing. Like, all right, now we got to like mix the real drums back in, and it's a headache.
Well, I can imagine like there's a real generational shift, because I kind of chuckled a little bit when you said, "Oh yeah, but he had what is it, Reason on his computer," and so I started messing around with that. There was no computer that had software for tracking anything when I was getting started. We all had a fucking Tascam 424, and we learned how to record on that thing and bounce tracks and make a 4-track work better than a 4.
When you read the tape op articles of like the old school engineers, that's how they all started. It's like doing that and like exactly. And now it's I had some primitive recording software thing and figured that out, and then just evolved into Pro Tools eventually.
Yeah, and then it'll be for this generation, it'll be I did it on GarageBand.
Yeah,
and like
GarageBand is good.
and then they hit the ceiling of what GarageBand can do, and they go, okay, I know how this works. What's the next thing?
It's the gateway drug to Logic.
Yeah,
it really is.
Logic. Yeah, I'm contemplating the move finally to Macs after a lifetime of being a PC guy. Shut up.
I never looked back when I switched.
Really?
You'd spend more, but it's just way better.
Well, the announcement of the new chips, the M1 chips, and the performance increases to me was kind of like, ugh, that might be the nail. We'll see.
I'll teach you.
Once you get it, man, it's super easy.
I don't know.
I'll show you the difference between the copy and paste buttons.
We all used them in school, and frankly, the interface doesn't look very much different from the little Mac Classic box that Laura's parents had in their living room. So I think I can figure it out.
Yeah,
it's easier once you get it. There's less menus and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I also think that at some very basic level, the thing is just more engineered for audio and video.
Yeah.
It would
they're
appear.
multimedia machines for sure.
Yeah, their understanding of audio interfaces and signals, the ability to switch back and forth or have multiple, multiple inputs and multiple different, audio engines running at the same time. Like that shit just freezes up a PC.
Yeah, the PC like audio language is super weird to me. How there's like multiple things dealing with multiple things, and they have to be talking, but they don't automatically. But like for Mac, for me, my biggest thing is like I want to turn it on, like have the power thing happen, and be working in like 5 minutes. Where if like you have like a 2-year-old PC, you're like turn it on and then go make coffee and come back 30 minutes later, and maybe you can type in your password. You know what I mean? That bugs me so much.
Yeah, it's been a while probably, but if you were to use like a good Windows 10 machine with the solid state drive, they've caught up a lot. Yeah, I guess I'll probably be learning how to use Logic. Hopefully after Cakewalk, it's not that hard.
If you do GarageBand, it's literally just Logic Junior basically. So if you get good at GarageBand, then Logic is super easy. And there's even like levels of Logic. There's like a thing you can hit that says hide advanced features, like dumb it down, but it's better than GarageBand. And then once you're good with that, you can say, all right, show me the advanced shit.
Yeah, that's funny. One thing, I grabbed Cakewalk mostly because it's free. And it's pretty well supported, and it's all standards based. So there's nothing like that I bought. None of the plugins or anything that won't work with anything else. It's all the same shit. But one feature that I actually really like is that they built it from the start so that you can start a project, and the UI loads up based on what it is you're doing. So like the way a person making beats views a DAW is very different from the way someone who's used to engineering on a physical mixer is, and so it has kind of that same thing. It has these one button swaps to completely change the way the UI looks on the interface. And the one that I use is called Basic.
Whatever gets the job done, man. Yeah. It should be easy. Especially
Actually,
for musicians.
No,
exactly.
The one I use is called Record. And it's making it look like an actual mixer when you're standing in a studio, which to me is what I'm the most familiar with.
Yeah.
So it was
this thing is here, this thing is here.
Yeah. Slide that knob, move that thing. Here's the timeline. Instead of like the Beat one has the timeline all chunked up into squares and you can move them around and stuff. Yeah. It's because there's so many layers of things you have to understand in order to even just record my voice on a microphone, like a signing.
But I know the frustrating thing when you're starting out is like if you accidentally hit a key command or like something changes and you're just like, okay, something's different. I don't know what I did and I don't know how to undo it, and undo won't work.
Okay. You have no idea how many times I've clicked close right at that moment and then just reopened it and not worried about whatever it was that I just lost because I knew how to get back there.
Yeah.
Because some element of the interface just disappeared or changed into something else, and I'm just like, fuck. I don't know what to do.
Quit it and load an old one. Yep.
Oh, that's funny. All right. Hey, you about ready to listen to some music?
I'm ready.
Yeah.
Is everybody else ready?
I'm
Let's do it. What have you been listening to a lot lately?
Yeah. What's the current playlist?
The one I've been really digging lately is the new Michael Kiwanuka record. I think it's just called Kiwanuka.
He's great. Kiwanuka, yeah.
I don't know.
God,
who
that
is
second
this?
album is super good. I brought some records and I can show you.
Oh, we'll do the merch table and we'll do it in the middle.
I have other ones for that, but
that one.
It was it's up for some Grammys.
Yeah,
it's really good.
He actually played. It was probably like 4 or 5 years ago, but he played that San Jose Music in the Park. He was one of those. But I think it was before he really blew up.
Honestly,
I think this is his second record with Danger Mouse producing it. It's like old Bill Withers, but it's like soul, kind of R&B, but
yeah,
enough of it relates to today. It's really good stuff. I've been
he's super good.
I'm interested. I'm gonna have to.
Yeah.
We've actually found quite a few records kind of along those lines.
Yeah.
Digging through kind of the Bandcamp selections, which is something we'll talk about in a little bit here. And it's this really great stuff going on. I think in like soul and R&B around the world. A bunch of stuff in London. We found a few really cool.
Yeah, he's UK. I think he's London actually.
All right. Everyone listening, if you're not on YouTube watching, we are now looking at the Bandcamp portal to our submissions.
Yes. Go follow us on YouTube.
Yeah, follow us on YouTube.
Then you can follow along. It's an interactive experience.
Yeah, it is. For sure. All right, so what's first?
First one is Coffin Torture.
Oh, Coffin Torture.
Yeah.
Great name.
So
that is a good name, right?
I will admit up front.
You know them.
To knowing them. It's okay though.
Never mind.
Haven't listened to him a lot. But the main dude behind Coffin Torture plays the guitars and basses. Is also a customer of JML Guitars. So he's got two JMX. He calls them Doombirds. They're kind of like a variation of one of the BC Rich pointy guitars with all the extra points. And Jay does a vote at the end of the year, every year, where he puts all the instruments that he's made over the year up in, nine instrument grids and has people vote for their favorite. And his Doombird from this year actually won.
Oh, really?
Won the favorite. So
nice.
So shout out to Coffin Torture. It's gorgeous. It's like dark wood, but then he stained the inside of the grain with this like gold, like metallic gold. And then stained over it, so embedded in the grain is this like shiny gold. Oh, it's rad. Go
find JML Guitars on Instagram.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Definitely find them on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I will say, if you're looking at this, the album art is fucking incredible.
Well, this is why I picked it.
Okay, he does.
To be honest,
he
oh really?
He draws it by hand and inks it. That is hand drawn and hand inked. Dude is super talented here.
It's very Skinner-esque.
Yeah, I'm gonna look him up because
but yeah, it was actually a fairly recent submission, and I clicked that link and saw that art, and I was like, we're listening to it.
Good. No, yeah, I've been sort of following him roughly because I ran into him the first time because he's got some custom Dunnable basses. So he's got like custom Dunnables and then his JMLs, and a really fucking incredible selection of amps. And the dude is like a pure gear nut.
Gotta love that.
I'm not finding his name though, and that's driving me crazy. That's okay. Anyways, go find Coffin Torture on Facebook or Instagram or wherever, and just get a look at that art. Yes. Oh, I thought about reaching out to him at some point to do album art because I just think it's so incredible, and especially because it's just all meticulously hand done.
That's amazing.
That's kind of reminds me of the artwork you guys get for the KOOK stuff. It's
yeah,
kind of in a similar vein.
Yeah,
kind of
it is that like super bright psychedelic. All right, so here we go.
Let's listen to some Coffin Torture.
What song are we listening to? Ishar, the one it lands on?
Ishar, yes.
Okay. All right, so we are on Bandcamp. It is coffintorture.bandcamp.com. The album is, Dismal Planet. And the song that we are going to listen to is called Ishar. And
what happened, Jeff?
Nothing.
I'm into it.
Yeah, I like that.
I like it.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Sludgy, thick.
Yeah.
And I know he's got tuned down to fucking nothing guitars.
As low as you can go.
I forget. Patrick Alex Thorfinn, I think is his name.
Oh, is that his name?
Yeah, and he's pretty active on social media. So if you find him, you can get a look at. He'll do like time lapses of him working on that art.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, those are really like I love watching art in time lapse. It's
so cool.
mesmerizing watching him doing the coloring and whatever.
For
those records.
Well, it was Jim, the drummer, that sent this in.
Oh, good.
And apparently they listen. He said that the Nighthawk and the Billy Anderson episodes are their favorites.
Ciao.
Nice.
Fuck yeah.
Thanks for listening, guys.
And I know they're a two-piece. So he's either
it's just the two of them now.
Yeah, he's either playing baritone guitars or bass or whatever on the records. I'm sure he plays both.
Nice.
But
let's skip forward and listen a little bit more.
yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, I'm into that.
Isn't
Yeah, I dig that.
it's super cool. It's who else is from South Carolina? Toke. Isn't Toke from South Carolina?
North Carolina.
Oh, they're from North Carolina?
I think so. Yeah. I zoomed in. Chris probably saw, and if you're watching on
Blew my
YouTube, my favorite comment so far is John, who reports that album blew his nips off.
I could see that. Yeah, it's crazy. That's a 3-minute long song too. I would have expected that to go on for like 12 minutes.
A long time. Yeah. What are the? So he's got some longer tracks.
But yeah, I saw it. It's like 7 minutes. Like usually that kind of stuff is your shortest song is 7 minutes.
Yeah, that's probably why
exactly.
that's probably why they picked that one. Here, let's.
Well,
listen.
I think I picked that one.
Oh, you did? I want to hear a little bit of Trench Hog. That's the last song.
Trench Hog.
That's
Yeah,
another good name. Those are all good names.
Those are good names. Volume?
Yeah, volume. There we go. Oh, 1 minute.
1 minute.
Nice.
Very nice.
That's
Yeah, I
awesome.
get down with that.
I
That
like
reminds
that.
me of like a Wednesday night at the Elbow Room in Jack London.
Fuck yeah.
Any
Well,
day of
once-
the week, you walk up there, that's what's playing.
Yeah, once upon a time, that's what would be going on at either the Elbow Room or at what's the other one, or the Golden Bowl.
The Golden
While
Bowl.
they were still all heavy.
Yeah.
I
No,
saw
that's
Elder at the Golden Bowl that one time when they came through.
Oh,
that
you
was
fucking asshole.
outrageous.
Oh, really?
Dude,
Yeah.
they had no business playing there. They should have been like at the Independent or something.
Yeah.
It was insane. I was like, why
That's
are they?
always-
I talked to them like at the merch table. I was like, I shouldn't be able to do this with you guys. Like, you should at least have someone else selling your merch. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. What was
Yeah.
that? Was that like really early on, kind of in there?
No, I remember it.
I
This is
bought
a couple years
Lore,
ago.
but I'd
Really?
already had. Yeah, the Omens hadn't come out yet. Their most recent release. It was
Yeah.
probably a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years.
Yeah,
That's it?
I remember.
Insane.
I
Yeah.
couldn't go. I was again out of town or something. Just missed out on it.
Wow.
But I mean, the Golden Bowl would get shows like that, and little. I mean, we talked about this actually with folks about from the East Coast about St. Vitus, how a big band
Yeah.
would rather play multiple nights at a small venue like St. Vitus than take the bigger venue, just because, they're kind of family and the
people they know.
And Golden Bowl was that way too. I mean, the people running the Golden Bowl are the music side of it. Were longtime, East Bay heavy music folks.
Yeah.
And so it was just it was the family stop. They wouldn't think of stopping anywhere else. So
Yep.
like when we saw Sub Rosa there,
Yeah.
why were they there? That was fucking nuts.
Exactly.
But there they were in the 100-person Golden Bowl.
Yep. On a Tuesday night.
Yep. All right, who's next? Good work.
Ooh, the next one.
That was coffintorture.bandcamp.com.
Yeah.
And obviously,
'em.
always the links are always in the episode notes.
Great merch. Love the art. The next one is a band called Trick the Riddle. And the song is Undertow.
Trick the Riddle.
Did I not follow it? I know I
Oh,
did.
you did.
There.
I'm distracted. Why is Warmones on your wish list?
I don't
Get you some Mutoid Man.
No, I have that. I don't know why it's on my wish list.
That's funny.
Oh, you know what I think it was? I think somebody was asking for, in one of the Facebook groups that I'm in, somebody was asking about ballads that were not from bands that wrote ballads.
Oh fuck yeah, Bandages.
And so, yeah.
Have you listened to Warmones?
No, I don't think I have.
The third full length Mutoid Man record.
Oh, maybe. I'm bad with album
We'll
names.
listen at the end. I'll get us copyright struck.
Yeah.
It's
okay. Every episode so far.
Demonetized.
Yeah. Well, hey, we have a fair use claim. I just don't have the energy to make it yet.
Yeah.
So, so that record, I mean, he hasn't really said publicly, but he kind of said when the few times I've seen him live since that record came out, that they sort of, each song is sort of their version of a classic paradigm of a heavy music song from a different time or a different band. So he's got like there's like a Pantera song on there, and then that more Bandages is his homage to the great 80s power ballad.
Cinderella power ballad.
Nice.
And who is it that sings the backups? Chelsea Wolfe sings backups on
does
it.
she?
Yeah, she sings backups on it. So, we'll listen to a little bit of that when we wrap up.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, it's really fun. All right, so this is Hibernation.
Trick the Riddle.
TrickTheRiddle.bandcamp.com. And
Undertow is the song.
Okay,
Okay.
that's what we're listening
All
to.
right, let's do it.
So Undertow by Trick the Riddle.
This hurricane, it never ends. Throwing a breeze, but in the season, caught in between the cavalry. They're closing in, I've got one chance to make this something.
I think it's so fun that the kids all found the 90s.
Yeah, right.
Holy
That
shit.
was unexpected. Getting
No.
into pop
Totally
punk after
unexpected,
that
but I'm-
acoustic intro. I was like, all right, I got some folk stuff going
Yeah, right?
on. Nope.
No, I really like that.
And that you don't expect that sort of crunchy of like a driving bass sound behind that type of vocals.
Yeah, it was kind of mixing things up a little bit. This episode's going to be a little bit like a day in your life mixing music.
Yeah, exactly.
Something different every day.
So these
No, I dig it.
guys,
I'm into it.
Yeah, it was cool.
I want to listen to some more, but these guys have a few records
Emo
out.
grunge.
Where are they from?
New York.
Looks like New York.
Trick
yeah.
the Needle. I don't see label affiliation. I don't see any
No merch.
I don't see any merch on here. Those are kind of
put songs
indicators. Yeah, just why not put them up? All right, let's hear a little bit more of that.
Yeah.
Whoa, volume up. Hello.
Uh-oh.
Hey, everybody.
We are experiencing technical
We're having
difficulties.
minor technical difficulties, which we will fix. All right.
Flap my wings harder than I have before. To reach where we're comfortable. We think we're dispensable. I'm waiting for the cracks to show. I'm caught in the undertow.
I think it's kind of, it's like fun.
It's cool, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I heard more than one song on the kids playlist yesterday that sounded like
Does it
that.
sound like that?
Yeah, like the Black Parade showed up, and then I was like,
Yeah.
hey, if you guys like that, you should listen to some AFI, and so they pulled up AFI, and they were digging it. We got these little emo kids. So
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
awesome. That's a good thing to be in, like when you're that age.
I think
'Cause
so.
It's still fun. Like I was saying, I was into like Korn and the heavy stuff, so I like avoided the stuff like the Plague. You know, like all the Green Day records that were coming out, Blink-182. Like in
Yeah.
high school, I was like, no, I'm not touching that stuff, and I just would not listen to it. And like since then, obviously, I'm just like, damn it,
We've gone
there was
back.
some really good stuff back then.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we've and it's come up a bunch of times how some of that stuff is fucking great. I mean, I have been forced to get intimately familiar with Panic at the Disco, and I know all about all of their different like eras and how it's really just Brandon Urie now. It's not even Panic at the Disco because the guy who wrote all the songs isn't there
Oh,
anymore.
I got that whole debrief in the car on the Stella knows
That's
a
funny.
lot.
Yeah, Stone knows her shit.
It's not really even his band.
Yeah.
So funny
He
to hear
stole it
about
from the other
eras
guy.
of bands like that. Like Jesus, they still feel like they're a new band.
Yeah. Oh, I know they've been around forever, and
Yeah.
she's right though. The first 2 or 3 records are kind of bonkers. They're kind of like, honestly, they remind me of a Bay Area band that was popular for a while called Jellyfish, like
Yeah.
mid 90s. This like kind of genre bouncing, Beatles influence. So you hear the crazier side of the Beatles catalog, or Bowie, or even Queen, kind of that like real theatrical, performative kind of rock music. That was Panic at the Disco. Could have been like the soundtrack for a weird circus in the first couple of records, and then it got a little more straightforward pop.
But I feel like a lot of those bands, like they were kind of able to do what they wanted at the beginning until they like actually started getting some like real label money behind them. And then they'd be like, all right, you're going into the studio with this producer and we need at least 7 hits,
Yeah.
And, like,
Yeah.
They weren't really able to do what they wanted to.
Exactly.
All right, here let's hear just a little
Yeah, let's do
snippet
something else.
of one other song. This is a song called Parasite. Ooh, let's see if they get serious and heavy.
Parasite. Okay.
All right, Parasite. Now we're still on this lovely band Trick the Riddle from New York, and this is Parasite.
Swear to God, I have no real friends. Can't hang, practice patience. Can't stand false engagements. And if you had some manners, you know my flag is tattered. Still flies despite the weather.
These guys are fun, happy music.
I like it.
It'd be a cool
I-
live
I-
show, no question.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think actually our daughters will really like this stuff.
I think so.
I think they're gonna love it.
I think so too.
Let's buy a record.
Yeah, I'll send them. They don't have anything to buy.
Oh,
Only
no.
We
digital.
can buy the
That's
digital
right.
album. Email them some MP3s.
That's right. Trick the Riddle. Thanks, guys.
All right. So what's next?
We got one more. So this is our Bandcamp submission.
Okay.
Here we go. We went digging. They're finally not just only doing the
End of year
end
list.
of year lists.
Yeah.
Although, so this one was actually, it's a band called Aztec Death. This was in an article. It was talking about 10 Latinx acts that are shaping the future of Dallas independent music.
Oh, interesting.
And so it was, the article was talking a lot about how, sort of there's the different scenes and all the cities in Texas are competitive with one another. Austin is really seen as that sort of musical city in Texas. But there's been a lot that have come out of like Houston and a lot of big bands recently and rappers. But you don't hear about Dallas a lot.
Yeah, Dallas. I mean, Dallas scene is kind of fragmented. Dallas is just a giant city with every type of everything.
Yeah.
So it can be hard for it to develop an identity. But like a Mothership is sort of a quintessential Dallas.
Oh, are they Dallas?
Yeah, Dallas rock band. But I mean, that's not a scene. That's a band.
Yeah, that's a band.
San Antonio is kind of popping too. There's a lot of great music cities in Texas. If you're a touring band, you can cover a lot of ground and play a lot of shows because it's geographically huge, like California. So you could plan 5 stops in Texas easily, even as like a smaller mid-sized band.
I mean, do you know any bands in Dallas, Chris?
Can't say that I do. I mean, I know
you never really you can think,
came out of
that's
Texas
Dallas
somewhere, but I don't know about Dallas.
Yeah, it's weird. I wouldn't. You don't think of it. Well, isn't it?
Well, there's a college there, right? So
there's a bunch.
Sense,
Isn't
guess.
Pantera from Dallas?
I thought
originally. We're gonna get.
They were Texas.
I'm gonna get yelled.
I don't know
at.
if they were
You
Dallas.
get that one wrong, man.
Oh, fuck, man.
You don't know your Pantera folklore.
I just know every heavy band that's passing through Texas always stops at Dime's grave and puts flowers and stuff on it. And I think that's in Dallas. Well, Chris knows. Sidebar. Chris knows about. I mean, I haven't seen this yet, but I'm gonna assume this is some kind of heavy music.
I don't know.
But Chris knows about Latinx heavy music. You had quite a journey last year. Was it going down to record a band?
I did.
What was
El
the
Salvador,
story?
yeah.
Yeah.
It was a dude that I knew from Santa Cruz. He was going to school there, but he's from El Salvador. We did some recording. He was in like a death metal band. He had to go back to El Salvador, and he just like hit me up out of the blue, and he's like, "Yo, man, I've got a band, I've got an album, and I want to record it, but I don't really think I should bring my band to you. It'd be a lot easier and cheaper for us to just pay for you to come to El Salvador and like bring some stuff with you and record an album." So I was like, okay, let me do some research on El Salvador. And there's not a lot of good things on the internet about it. But I was like, I at least know somebody. So I did it. I brought an 8-channel Scarlett interface and like a bag full of microphones. And I was just like, get stands and cables and we'll see what happens. And it was freaking rad.
Yeah.
It was like his dad owned this plot of land on the beach. It was like a surf destination it's just like a perfect break. There's just waves night and day. He owns basically this mini resort. So they have like a private residence where we did all the recording. We had an entire room set up as like the studio. Then they had like a restaurant next to it that they owned, that all my meals were from that.
Oh, wow.
And then they had a hotel that they owned next to that. So I got to stay at the hotel, just walk from there, get breakfast for free, walk over, record for like 10 hours, go to the beach. It was insane. And then they would drive me through like the rainforest and stuff, and like the road laws are like non-existent. There's just feral dogs everywhere and people like bathing in the rivers, and we're just blasting like Slayer and driving around. It was so trippy. It was really cool.
That sounds awesome. See,
was a good
kids, this is what you can do if you're a recording engineer.
Who would have thought? Yeah.
Meet a random.
And I think
dude
I recorded an indie band that made that connection to me. So it's super random.
But what's the name of that band? I want
Come Mundos.
Comemundos.
Comemundos.
I think it's,
and I'm sure
translates to World Eater. They're straight up death metal.
That
really cool.
sounds about right.
Yeah.
Are they on Bandcamp?
Yeah.
So Comemundos on Bandcamp. Check them out if you want to see more of Chris's work. All right. So what are we listening to here?
Song here is Eric.
Eric. What's up, Eric?
Eric.
All right. Aztec Death with a song called Eric. And the cover, even though it doesn't look like it exactly, reminds me a lot of the cover for the new Nothing record.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, kind
like
of, in a way.
Abstract-y, old guy, not looking happy.
I mean, can you see this, Chris? What are we gonna hear?
Yeah, what's your guess?
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, yo.
Yeah.
I'm
It even
expecting.
has like Adam Burke elements to it, kind of in a weird.
I'm expecting torture and death.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be. Yeah,
All right, let's
we'll
hear
see.
it, Eric. Songs are all about 3.5 minutes long, and then there's a fifth song that's almost 10 minutes long. Interesting.
All right.
All right.
Let's try it.
All right.
To my measure, to my pleasure. And why don't you take off that smile when you scoff? You take apart. It makes us all nervous. We don't need the circus, so leave the cigarettes to us. No one asked you to make a fuss and leave it clean. Be. This isn't for you or your comfort. Stay thy hand.
Sort of gothy,
Yeah.
shoegazy,
New
kind of.
wavy, yeah.
Yeah. It's like
New
like
Order.
it's like a peppier New Order or something. The vocals are turning me off. The guy's voices.
Yeah,
Yeah. I don't know. It's it's pitchy.
That's
Pitchy-
the genre. That,
Yo,
like, that's-
dog, it's pitchy.
that's the genre.
That for me, like bands like this, it's like it's so easy to go through and tune it, but like, for this, I don't know. I don't think I would. I think I'd
You
leave
wouldn't?
it raw. Not for this, man. I don't think
Yeah.
I'd leave it.
It's just not a style that I ever listen to. It's not, so this
Yeah.
is one of those not my bag situations.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of reminds me sort of like early, like the National. Like it has sort of a vibe of
Post punk.
Yeah,
That's how they tag it. They tag it as punk and post punk.
did they? Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds
It's
about
kind of
right.
like early, like Interpol, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm
before
hearing.
it
I'm
got,
hearing
like,
like
poppy.
Interpol and like smokers outside the hospital doors. Like there's
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
It's like 80s synth new wave.
Yeah.
Interpreted through like a punk rock.
Garagey,
play-
surfy guitar.
Yeah, garage lens.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, not playing that.
But
not-
yeah, his vocals are very Interpol-esque.
Yep.
The way they come off.
And a kind
Yeah.
of Joy Division, that just kind of straightforward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My ear likes to hear like synthesizers and electronic drum beats with that kind of downtrodden
Yeah.
singing and stuff. Yeah. Normally I'm all about like play the real instruments, but I mean those are real instruments. But nah, it's just I listened to the guy from the National get interviewed on a podcast once, and I was like, okay, so let me try listening to the National in like 30 seconds, and I was like, holy shit, I'm gonna fall
Vocals can
asleep
do
and kill myself in my sleep.
I love them. I love the National.
I get it. It's just not for me.
Yeah.
If
He's the one that actually produced Taylor Swift's last two albums.
Yeah, I know. If I'm doing sad, I'm doing
Yeah.
heavy sad.
Heavy sad.
Yeah,
That's a different type of sad,
I guess.
This is gloomy.
Yeah.
You want to be sad, and this helps you get there.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's cool.
Not
It's
bad.
cool, and it's interesting that they're part of a Latino music scene, and
Yeah.
I mean the Latinos nationwide appear to have embraced, goth as a general rule.
Yeah.
Is that it's an interesting thing that I would like to understand the history of it. Like, how did it end up that way? But
Yeah.
we get some of the cast offs of that because Troy's got a very gothy vibe to the vocals, and we lean into that. And
Yeah.
and I see that light a certain type of fan up when we play live that would probably also go see Morrissey or
Yeah. Well, it's funny because you don't ever, but it's I think there's a band. I know this is, what is her name? Kat Von D.
yeah.
Right.
She's
like-
married to
she's
like,
married to a guy that's like in one of those Mexican goth bands.
yeah
that-
Cholo Goth.
yeah, Cholo goth.
Yeah, he's like the king of it right now.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and it is interesting because it's not those, you don't expect that like it's one of those things you don't normally stereotypically, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Well, and the visual is interesting too because the style is very like greasery.
yeah.
So it's like this weird mix of music from the
This is what
like
we look
sad
like. This is
white.
what we sound like.
Yeah, no,
They're not
it's
the
like
same. But they don't go together.
Yeah, it's like sad white people music from the 80s, but with the Mexican guy who looks like he's gonna play like
Elvis or
song Elvis. Yeah,
I'm into it. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, completely.
It's a very unique identity for for scenes that have a visual identity. You know those starter kit memes, like for the various whatever.
There's great ones for new metal. I know that.
Yeah. Well, Scotty from Tank Crimes just posted one for your Tank Crimes starter kit, which is basically like your Oakland crust punk starter kit.
I saw that.
And it was funny as hell.
Yeah, I saw that. That was funny.
Nice.
There was another Instagram feed that I follow, the San Jose Foos. But they had one that was like you were supposed to comment on something that immediately somebody would know you were from San Jose if you told them. And one of the funniest ones was a guy that said, "I'm Mexican and I like hockey." Yes, San Jose.
No. Well,
awesome.
no, you could be from Dallas.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I think people outside of America, maybe people who haven't visited the South very much, really have a very different view of Texas than the real view of Texas, which is
sure.
most of Texas feels like you're in Mexico, and I mean that in a good way.
Yeah, in a good way.
Yeah.
All of the urban populations and suburban populations, which is what you hear and see mostly, is this little strip along one highway that runs kind of north-south that hits Dallas and then Austin and then San Antonio and Houston. And those towns all have, good upstanding, Texas Ranger names like Houston and Dallas, but every other place name and place in Texas is Spanish.
Oh, completely.
And
yeah.
it's very different, I think. I mean, I've driven through Texas a lot. When I was a kid, we would, because my family lived in Houston, and we'd drive from California to Houston like once a year and visit. But yeah, I think most people picture something, I think, very different from
cowboy hat.
Cowboys.
Yeah, cowboys.
Cowboys.
And there are lots of
Steer with giant horns.
there are lots of cowboys. Most of them are Mexican.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah, they're the real cowboys.
yeah, they're the caballeros,
Yeah.
the real cowboys that were there before our cowboys.
Oh, do your research. If you
Yeah.
want to know what we're talking about, Google real cowboys.
Yeah.
The first cowboys.
What are we merching it now?
We're it's time to visit the merch.
The merch table. Hey, Bandcamp committed to doing Bandcamp Fridays through March or April. So they do them right at the end of the month, right? It's been the last Friday of every month. So keep your eyes peeled if you want to buy merch from any of these bands.
Yeah.
Or any other bands that we talked about, or really anyone on Bandcamp. Look up when the next Bandcamp Friday is, because when you buy on those days, the Bandcamp forfeits their cut of the purchase, and you get 100% of it. The artist gets 100% of it. So save up, spend money, buy stuff on Bandcamp, but wait till the end of the month if you can.
I mean, if you can.
All right, who's going first? Do live rock paper scissors?
Why don't I just pitch? I have nothing.
Oh, okay.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna pitch our contests.
Oh,
We've got two
there you go.
giveaways going on right
We
now,
do.
right? We're going to be giving away two of these new King Buffalo Live at Freak Valley vinyls. It's the green one. Jeff and I made a mistake and each purchased records for each other, so we ended up with four records.
We got four
instead of two. Nice. So we're going to give away two. So all you need to do is, to win one, you could just go and follow us on YouTube, subscribe to our channel, and when we hit 100 subscribers, we're going to give one away to one of those subscribers. And Jeff, what's the other contest?
The other contest is going on Facebook right now. So find the Blynd Submyshynz Facebook page, or I'll share it again. And then what I need to see is proof.
Jeff's
that
is much harder.
mine's make you work for. Hey, I have submissions, so it's working. We're just trying to cut through the noise here and get the subscriptions up on the podcast side too. So go to Apple Podcasts. It's Apple Podcasts only this time. We'll do somebody else next time. But hey, we did YouTube too. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast and then rate it and leave us a comment. and then send me a shot. Post it in the thread or message me or message Blynd Submyshynz or email blindsub@gmail.com with a picture of your comment that you've left behind. Like and subscribe, baby.
Oh, yeah.
That's the age we're in. And really, I mean, I feel a little icky about pushing social media stuff.
I know, me too.
But JD and I really are not trying to like make money or get rich off of this, and it's not going to happen. The point is, if we're going to do this work of kind of introducing you to people in the scene and listening to music and uncovering hopefully some gems, why not have as many people as possible hear it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're just trying to broaden the audience for the artists that we're featuring and the people that we're talking to. So.
And to also get the submissions, because the more people that know about it, the more submissions
we get.
The more submissions we get, the more new music we share.
Yeah. If someday this thing pays for itself, super.
Yeah, that's all we're going for. We just want to break even.
Yeah. Look, if you don't think I'm being real with that, I'm also a member of an underground heavy metal band that I would just like to break even on. And JD and I do a lot of show promoting that we just hope to break even on. So it's kind of the story of that's our story.
Yeah, in the underground, that's the goal.
For sure.
Nobody's making money.
So what do you have? What do you have, Chris?
I brought a couple records out.
Ooh, yeah. Okay.
First one is Big Brave. Have you heard of these guys?
Yeah.
From, I think, Vancouver, somewhere in Canada. I saw them open for Sun 2 years ago at the Fillmore, and they freaking like blew my mind. It was just, it's sludgy. They have drums, but it's very kind of ambient. There's vocals. She sings very specific way. I don't know. It's
Big Brave is great. Cool. Which album is that?
Yeah. I think it's the newest one.
Is that a new one?
It's called A Gaze Among Them. You probably can't read it back. Yeah. I think this is what they were supporting when they were touring. So I think
nice.
It's
really
that kind of music is tricky because oftentimes it's all about the experience of it live, and so then capturing that in some sort of way to represent it however you want to record it is tricky. I mean, we talked to Billy a little bit about that.
Yeah.
But do you find that to be one of the really challenging things about kind of capturing a death metal band or something really heavy where it's about a loud live experience?
It's funny because it varies from genre to genre, because like speed metal, death metal is such a produced sound that like you kind of have to go out of your way to achieve it. You know, like make the kick sound a certain way, and the guitars shouldn't have this much low end, which they would normally have. But that's one of the reasons why I bought that record, because like seeing it live and then listening to it before I bought it, I was like, like it was recorded so well. It's very similar to like what I got out of the show and why I liked it to begin with. So yeah, it's hard to capture that sometimes, but I mean that's one of the things why you need people in the studio doing it together, because it's about getting people in there, putting amplifiers in the same room and capturing what they can do. Not every band can do it, so
yeah. So interesting too to when we saw Sun at Psycho, I think they've just opened with the drone and people just started laying down on the floor. So that you could so that you just feel it.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, no, there were people all down in the front part just laying down because you could feel the vibrations from the floor.
When we saw them at the Fillmore, they you know how they just smoke the place out before they even get out there. So like the smoke cannons are going off for like a good 20 minutes. Then they walk out and everyone's cheering, and then they get in. They're on chord number 2 or something, like 5 minutes into the show, and all the power of the entire place goes down. And all these alarms start going off because they put too much fog in. So they're all just standing out there looking at each other, and they like slowly walk off the stage with their hoods on and stuff. And
they're probably used to it. It probably happens all the time.
15 minutes later, like the smoke's kind of gone down a little bit, and they come back out and play the whole thing. It's pretty funny, but
my guess is something's in their contracts that's like, the venues have to do something to
we can violate fire code.
Yeah, mess with fire code. Turn off the alarms.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
The other one, self-promoting kind of, but Phantom
nice.
Hound.
Fuck yeah.
This is the one I recorded this with them 2 years ago now, and they dropped it last year, I think. This is one of the ones where they had a huge tour plan. They made a bunch of vinyl. They made a bunch of merch. They were just about to hit the road, and then pandemic hit. So
I feel real bad for those guys. Super nice guys too.
They're awesome.
Jake. really big supporters of all the shows that we put on and of my band also. So that's really cool.
Their hearts are in it. They're into, helping others. They deserve the help that they get. They're cool people.
Are they Oakland? They're East Bay, right?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know where exactly they live. Jake
they practice
and Jack
at OMC. I think.
Okay, so they're
Jake is in Oakland or Hayward or something. They're Oakland basically.
They're all
East Bay.
Yeah,
they're awesome. I feel like not enough people got to hear this because they didn't get to tour it, but it's really cool, and I'm proud of my work on it. So,
it's a really good record, and it sounds really good too.
Oh.
And from that, Jake obviously got that opportunity because they played the Bowling and Beers in Hell the same day as High Tone. So now Jake's playing guitar in High Tone Son of a Bitch also.
Yeah,
so
it's been super cool. He keeps texting me like, dude, I just got to meet Billy for the first time, and all send me pictures of Billy bending over and his like crack sticking out.
Oh yeah, that's
like, yep,
that's what everybody wants to see.
I remember that.
No, we know that pose.
Yeah,
the Billy's crack pose.
Yeah.
That was funny. Billy said it was really cute because it's like they're all old and shitty and cynical and gnarly, and Jake's just like, hey guys,
super stoked to be there.
Yeah. He said it's a good like energy infusion that they sort of need because they're all so crusty.
So
he's bringing some life back into it. He's stoked on it, stoked on that, just stoked on music. He's like, he'll hit me up like once a month and like, dude, I'm working on demos, man, like we're gonna get in the studio again when we can. And I'm just like, yeah, dude,
that's
keep doing what you're doing.
That's so great.
All right, my turn.
Is it?
Yep.
Or do you have more?
You got another one?
No, that's
okay.
it.
All right, so these are 3 records that I bought from the same record shop. This is an alternate pressing of Polygon Land from King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
Polygon
on a like really cool. I think this is like
Feels like it's screen printed.
It's almost like kind of fuzzy.
Yeah.
And then it came with all sorts of goodies. It's besides
I
just
can
being
only
a great
imagine what they put in that.
So there's this like pink metallic paper that has all the lyrics. It's kind of hard to see.
It's also like letterpress printed.
Yeah.
It's got like the raised print.
Yeah, so I probably shouldn't bend it or fuck it up.
Please don't.
And a slip mat. Always love a good occult slip mat.
Every record should come with a slip mat.
Hands touching a skull. And then a record, which is, whatever. And a big old poster. It's like a 4-piece fold-out poster. So I don't know what.
You gonna hang that up in your room?
Yeah, totally.
Sweet.
Above your bed.
if my mom lets me.
Or your wife.
I love that band so much.
Yeah, they're
not every record, but they put out so many. You don't have to like them all.
You don't have to love all of them.
They'll give you one that you love.
We've been watching. I've been watching a lot of live videos of them. There's a session they did where the 2 drummers are just like facing each other, just like you can see them reading each other, and it's so cool. And I love all that crazy microtonal shit. His
first album where they did that, I was just like,
yeah,
oh my god, that's such a cool idea.
Yeah, the banana guitar,
microtonal flying banana or whatever.
Yeah, that's what. That's the name of the record too, right?
Yeah, that's the record. Yeah.
All right, so that
True artists.
That was fun. I think these were all Record Store Day from various years. The second one is the most absolutely gorgeous version of Sad Wings of Destiny, which is my favorite Priest record, with it's probably hard to see, but with an embossed and gloss covered cover.
His muscles
like
really stand out nicely.
So the angel and all of that is like embossed. It's actually poking out and then covered with the like kind of a glaze. I don't know. I love this record so much. It's such a crazy album. And if you want a good laugh and listen to maybe the weirdest Judas Priest song ever recorded, listen to Island of Domination, which is the last track on the record, because he sings like a straight up cabaret singer on parts of it. Wow. It's so bananas, and they were such the musically so much more diverse than if you just think of the couple hits than you would think they are. But I mean, Victim of Changes is on this record. Sadly, I mean.
That's the one with Turbo Lover on it, right?
Yeah, The Ripper. Come on, Dreamer, Deceiver. I mean,
that was a joke,
Island of Domination. So that's number 2, and then number 3 is maybe the most exciting thing I've purchased in a long, long time. That is a 7-inch with 2 of the songs off of the only available at Pizza Hut Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles album that they toured.
You haven't opened it? You haven't opened it to listen to it yet?
Not yet. I can listen to these songs online. So it's a little 7-inch little denim vest with flaps that you open up, and then those
cool.
two are actual patches that I could take
Nice.
off and put on my battle
Pizza power.
on my
Pizza
battle
power.
vest if I wanted to. I also
right.
think in 2020 that it's hilarious that one of the songs is called Tubin, which is now the shorthand for when you get caught jacking off on camera during a work meeting.
It is?
Yeah, that guy from the New York Post or whatever. His
Right.
name's Jeffrey Tubin.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
So,
Okay.
so people started calling it. What are you doing?
That's right.
Just
Tubin.
Just Tubin.
God.
So
There has been a lot of good compilations of like teachers farting in front of their class on
yeah.
the Zoom calls and stuff.
I don't
It's a
even
whole
need
new brand of
compilations.
comedy.
We have kids in class on Zoom calls who just have stories from their
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
There's been some good ones.
Oh, man.
All right, that's all.
Are we
I got.
done?
That's all
Merch
I got.
table is empty?
Some sweet ass
All right.
records. All right,
Merch is sold out.
did you pick more music or did we?
Of course I did.
Okay, good.
We
Well,
got
are you
more
good
music.
on time? We'll do time
Yeah,
check.
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
good.
cool.
A few more songs, and then we'll
Let's do it.
talk a little bit more. Wrap it up.
Yeah, force you to listen to a little bit of Bandages so that we can get
Yeah.
copyright claimed. And
We're going to anyways.
I mean, with a take.
Oh, you mean like with an actual takedown?
with a takedown or
We
a
haven't
block?
gotten one of those yet.
All we've gotten are regional blocks, and,
Yeah.
they're really strange. We played a bunch of song off the Kvelertak record from this year, and they claimed it, but all they did was block it in Iran, North Korea.
It's all communist countries,
like,
basically.
I was like, huh? Okay,
Yeah.
fine,
Take it
that's
as a
fine.
victory, I
Can you-
guess. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like China. Yeah.
Whatever.
whatever. Yeah,
Can't
no,
listen to music in communist countries.
we haven't made a full episode that could be monetized yet, unless we issued a fair use claim. So as long as we're talking about the songs and we don't play this whole song from start to finish, we can fair use claim all of them. But YouTube just blocks by default.
That's
As
just the
soon as they-
algorithm. It's like, oh,
yeah,
I
the
recognize
algorithm
this.
blocks. Yeah, and then it's up to us to go. Actually, no, we're commenting on this. I'll be curious to see, because one of the things one of the rabbit holes I've gone down during the pandemic on YouTube is watching reaction videos. Drummer reacts to Danny Carey live video
Yeah,
from
those have been
Numa,
popping
or
up like crazy.
yeah, and they're all monetized, and I'm curious, and I think it's because they stop and start and stop and start and talk over it, and then go through the effort of copyright claiming. And I think once your channel gets to a certain point, you can just have an agreement with YouTube that, like, this is my format.
Yeah.
It's going to be like this every time, so don't auto block every
I
post.
think
Once
you
you're
have to get like 1,000 subscribers before you
Yeah.
can start
Yeah.
making money or something
Yeah.
like that. And then
Yeah,
there's
once
probably
you're
a cap above that.
yeah. Once you're a partner, partner. I can't wait to be a partner with YouTube. I'm sure my voice will be heard.
Yeah.
By
Yeah.
the example.
Yeah,
Got
completely.
a bone to pick with you.
Sponsorships.
They
Like,
listen.
this episode brought to you by HelloFresh.
Yeah. Hello Fresh.
By Alpha Brain.
Alpha Brain.
Because we're old and we can't remember
Casper
shit.
mattresses.
Yep.
I was trying to think about that. Who's gonna? I mean, Bandcamp's the obvious one
Yeah.
because we say nice shit about them all the time. But
Liquid Death.
Liquid Death. I saw the Liquid Death truck down by
Did you?
7-Eleven the other day, and I wanted to stop the guy and go, "I want to meet Mr. Liquid Death."
LD.
You must know him.
You must know you drive a truck that delivers water.
Yeah. So when you see us with Liquid Death cans one day,
Yep.
Yeah.
Always facing the camera. Always saying
Always.
how delicious
always
it is.
facing the camera.
That's my favorite. At the end of, I watch a lot of fighting. I know it doesn't seem like it would be in my character to be interested in watching MMA, but sorry, it is. But my favorite move is at the end of every fight, the guy that walks over with the can that they have to
yeah.
hold, and he hands it to him, and then he has to,
He has to turn
then
it.
he has to turn it. Because the dude
faces the camera.
the guy's like bloody and
Yeah.
sweating
It's
and
like,
just
all right,
finished
let's
25
get this
minutes
shot
of
real fast. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
This is where our
What
money's
energy
coming
drink
from.
you
This is my
drinking
paycheck.
today?
yeah, for sure. All right, so what's next?
Dead Moon Lizard Kings.
All right, let's get some share on.
Oh man,
Getting
Another
better
good
at
name.
all this.
this is gonna get weird. I bet.
You think?
It's looking like it.
All right.
Yeah, that's a weird cover.
That is some psychedelic.
All right, so yeah, the cover is like a weird Pac-Man ghost with giant hairy man feet and an exposed brain with a long tongue holding a giant joint and then a bunch of mushrooms inside its mouth.
Either prog or like stoner jam band.
Yeah. It kind of, it looks like something that would have been a flyer back in in Haight-Ashbury back in the 60s, kind of.
Totally.
Very acid trippish.
Yeah.
Lots of Amanita muscaria mushrooms.
Yeah.
We'll get you high. So these guys are from Middlesbrough, UK.
Ooh, okay.
What song do they
the
want?
The song we're listening to is the 12th key.
The 12th key. All right. I don't know if I'm ready for this.
All right.
But we are. It's dmlk666.bandcamp.com. Again, I'll link it. But all right. The 12th key by Dead Moon Lizard Kings. Okay, we're building up to something here.
Sounds like we're building up to something.
At exactly 1 minute, which is where every heavy band on earth thinks that they have to transition from whatever their intro is into the rest of the song.
Is this something that you've noticed as an engineer / producer, that there is something that happens at 1 minute?
That, yeah, and even shorter than that. There are a lot of, if you submit for like blogs and stuff, not really for metal, but a lot of them are only required to listen to the 22-second mark. So you want to have something interesting happening by then,
by
at
22
the least. But yeah, a minute. Usually the chorus is hitting around a minute, if not sooner. If it's beyond that, you might have to talk to the band about it.
Well, and that's my
always
question.
a minute.
So this is a 5-minute song. Is that a 1 minute intro, and is he about to start singing, or is
That sounds
this
like a
just,
verse.
That was a verse.
You think
that
so?
was
Like it, yeah.
that was
Yeah.
preaching from the pulpit is sort of the vocal style here.
Yeah, I was gonna say
maybe. I think
the
it's
music's cool, but I'm not into the vocals.
No, I thought it was kind of cool. I kind of liked it sounded sort of like Patton-esque with his megaphone that he would do, and it sounds very megaphone.
Correct. Which means I'll take it if it's in the first minute to sort of set something up, and then he's about to do something else.
Yeah,
but
I don't want the whole song to be like that.
If it's four
I have a
minutes
feeling
of
the
songs.
whole song. I have a feeling the whole album is going to be like that.
All right,
But
the
I don't
drums were just building to something. They're
let's
going
see
to
where
do
it
something.
goes.
So let's see what it does. All right, well that's better.
I bet these guys are fun live.
Yeah, I
It'd be
bet
fun
so.
Seem like
live,
they'd be a really cool band to see live.
Yeah, let's see. Somebody in the
Maybe not
comments
the end
said,
of the night, but
Yeah,
that's true. Here, look.
yeah.
Here's another one. Inverted cross joint. There we go. I just want to hear if he sings.
It's like a cross joint. You can light it. Like your road.
So he goes all kinds
It
of
kind of
different
does all, yeah,
different places.
all over the place.
Changes
That's
it
cool.
up, yeah.
Huh. All right. Dead Moon Lizard Kings. There are 4 songs on this record. The shortest one is 5 minutes. The longest one is almost 12 minutes. So
I get the feeling that if you listen to this thing from the first song to the end of the last song, you're going to go on a journey.
Yeah.
It's going to take you through all sorts of different places.
yeah, I assume. Yeah, I don't.
You know,
I'm sure
it's-
that's
yeah.
the case.
Yeah.
All right. Who's next?
Who is next? Alpha Booties? Or maybe it's Alpha Buddhist?
Alf.
I'm not sure. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Buddhist.
You think it's Buddhist?
Well,
Buddhist.
no, and there's
I mean, it is Buddhist, but
but there's also the 2 dots. So isn't that like a
Alpha?
Buddhist?
Buddhist?
Somebody.
Space
Alpha
disco
Beatus.
synth metal. That's a great genre title.
Space.
What is the genre?
Space disco synth metal.
Ooh, all right.
With operatic vocals.
So I guess that just describes what we're going to hear.
No mystery.
There's no mystery. So the song Space Vikings.
Of course.
Okay.
Hey, I learned an interesting fun fact
About
the other
Vikings
day
in space?
about Vikings.
Oh.
Did you know that Viking was a job, not a race? As they're excavating all these old ruins, they're finding Vikings from all different places, entombed together, different races, different places, different sizes. Not all Vikings were tall, blonde Nordic folk.
I just assumed they were all Nordic. I thought Vikings sort
Yeah.
of referred to like
I guess
the naval people of the Nordics.
I guess you could go and get a job. No, they were just they were like mercenary raiders.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah,
That makes it
You
even
had to wear
tougher.
a certain uniform.
you just had to wear the
Horns or
uniform,
nothing.
Yeah.
pull your oar, and pillage.
Interesting.
Have a good pillaging resume. I would assume. Like, have you
How many
ever
towns have you
pillaged?
sacked?
So tell me about your experience doing cross-departmental collaboration. in,
Shut up. All right, so it's Alpha Buddhist BOOTIS band.bandcamp.com. Alpha Booties, whatever, and the song is Space Vikings.
Beyond the flaming sky, Ragnarok is nigh. We are the hounds of war, unbreakable tide.
All right, I'm 100% into that.
yeah.
Chris?
My wife would really dig that, but I would probably roll my eyes if she was blaring that when I came home.
That-
But I would accept it. I would accept it and just go with
That's
it. But
funny.
not really
I
my
get
thing.
it. Definitely the vocals are from power metal.
Yeah.
Like that, yeah.
This
There's like metal
first
drums and
Yeah, I mean, I always will advocate for real drums, and I can only listen to programmed drums so much. But that was fun. But I read this fucking comment, and I was trying to figure it out. Put the Doritos in this Ziploc, man. That bag makes too much noise. I stuff the snacks into my coat pocket as we stumble out of the smoke-filled Datsun and cross the parking lot to the planetarium. Space Vikings and other stories, reads the sign. We all high-fived each other and enter. This place is packed. Just as we arrived, we find a few spots in the back and settle in. Dude, this is going to put Laser Floyd to shame. It was fantastical indeed. We went back the next night.
wow,
Favorite track, Space Vikings.
that's a great.
I wonder if that's like a hypothetical situation, or if they actually
Did
they're
the
from
show.
Quebec.
Yeah, or if did they do shows?
Yeah, shows at a wow.
So they're
Canada.
prolific.
Okay,
They've-
yeah,
They've got a few records.
yeah, they do.
They have merch. We're looking at their Bandcamp
Ooh.
page. a lovely compact disc. I'm assuming this guy is associated with the band, and he is 100% exactly
He looks very Quebecois.
what I pictured.
Not really.
I kind of do want a shirt that says Space Disco Sentimental on it, though. That's,
Right?
It's good branding.
He runs a heavy metal yoga studio in Quebec.
I couldn't meditate to that, I don't think.
Space.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's definitely unique. They're all in, man. For that, you got to be all in. So props for that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you got to be all in.
You
I
gotta
think
commit.
it's the I kind of hoping it was something other than power metal that it was mixed with. I think.
Oh no.
To me, power metal is the corniest,
Okay.
cheesiest,
Okay.
dumbest
I'm with
part
I'm
of
with you on
metal.
that.
Oh.
Like, I am. People are gonna hate me for saying that, but
No,
it just,
I'm
I
with you on
can't
that
get
one.
behind it, man.
We're
Some
just
of
gonna
it's
have
too silly.
we're gonna have a day where I get you in the right frame of mind.
And we're gonna go lay siege
Well,
to a village.
No, well the first thing you got to do is set up the D&D table,
Yeah.
and then
Drink
like
of choice needs to be like mead or something like
Mead.
that.
yeah, a very
A lot
heavy
of
beer. Yeah. No, there are some beautiful corners of the power metal world. But-
I have to admit, I did listen. I do like sometimes listen to Blind Guardian.
That's
So,
like baby.
That's like straight up.
That's baby steps.
Is that baby? Is that baby
into
power metal?
That's
all right.
That's easier to consume.
Yeah.
No, there's some absolutely hilarious. My question with bands like Blind Guardian is how in on the joke are they? Is it like are they having fun with it, or did they just never get out of it and they're still in their van?
Yeah.
Like with the pocket full of joints, you know,
Yeah.
getting ready to play D&D. And they just didn't realize that the rest of the world changed around them. I don't know.
Go either way, man.
It could go either way.
Thing is, like when it's tongue in cheek, and the bands are sort of doing it because it's a fun thing. I totally get it. But like when somebody is like a serious power metaler,
Yeah.
those two things don't go together.
Yeah.
Serious and power metal, just no.
Or like the darkness. That was
Yeah.
another one. Like tongues were in cheeks. For me, and all people will hate me for this too, is when I go to a club to see a show, a small venue to see a show, and there's black metal coming.
Oh yeah.
Because the stage presentation of black metal is so deadly serious and like dark, and there's often special decorations and costumes and like a big bone altar that goes up on stage and stuff. But when they show up, they're just four dudes,
Yeah.
like, and there's always one guy like carrying the weird horn thing. And he's got like his hood in his other hand. He's like standing, waiting to use the bathroom. and then you're just like,
He's got his cloak over his
like-
shoulder and a skull in one hand.
Gotta go to the bathroom and change.
well, no,
Put my makeup on.
I'll get serious for a minute too, because it rolls into the music, and then they go up on stage, they get all set up and create the illusion. But if it's a small venue with a shitty PA, nobody can play those blast beat drums loud enough to be heard over anyone else's instruments in a small venue if you don't have a good PA.
Yeah.
So then you have this really weird, often musical presentation where they either all recognize this and turn way down. So they're playing this like violent, loud, insane music, but it's at like half volume just so we can hear the drummer. Or they don't, and the drummer doesn't exist. He's just in the back flailing around, and you're just like, I guess he's playing drums, but I couldn't tell.
Oh man.
So for me, when I have enjoyed black metal, it has been very much about the venue, whether they have a backstage, whether the artist can disappear so that I don't have to be reminded that they're just
just four dudes.
yeah, like because it's so performative, it's so theatrical, it's so
Completely.
theatrical. It'd be like going to see Gwar, and like half of them they're just like in the bottom part of their costumes, like eating, like smashing a burger at the bar before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ruins the illusion.
A little bit, yeah.
We did back when I was booking shows in Salt Lake, we did a Guar show, and so of course we greeted them when they showed up in their van and talked to him and then watched them as they mixed their red Gatorade ahead of the show, you know, and you're just like it kind of takes away something. You're like,
magic is
I don't think I
gone.
wanted to see any of this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of my and I've mentioned this a few times already, but it's relevant. One of my very first experiences playing live music was opening for a band that Buckethead was in. And Buckethead had the good sense to either be so socially awkward or so forward thinking that someone else drove him and he got out of a little Datsun from the passenger seat with his mask on and with the bucket already on his head. And so my introduction to, you know, costumed musicians was they just are that way.
Yeah.
Like he's at home and he's trying to figure out how to eat with his mask on or whatever.
Yeah.
So I thought that's how everyone would do it, but apparently it's not practical to drive around in your guar costume.
No.
That would be pretty great, though.
Yeah, it would be fantastic. Well, the
Tour
funniest
bus
thing
rolls
was
up.
we saw one of the bands, and it's because they're playing small venues. They don't have backstages. They don't have roadies. You know, everybody has to like do all the stuff.
Yeah.
Was one of the bands had this big fucking huge guy, and he was the singer, but he didn't sing exactly. He had a big podium, and he actually put it at the very back of the stage, up high. So he's kind of like above the drummer.
Yeah.
And he's just like our fearless leader giving a speech. But watching him stand there with the podium like tucked under his then he once he got up on stage, I was like, oh, I can't take you seriously now. This isn't scary.
I've already seen you. Yeah.
This
A
isn't
little bit of
scary.
black eye makeup will go a long way. That's all you really need. Make sure your
Yeah.
band is good and just a little face makeup.
little face makeup. I will say though, that same show, Imperial Triumphant played, and they play in like robes with those gold masks, and they made themselves scarce. And then the first time I saw them was when they walked out in their full outfits, and it worked.
Yeah.
But the other bands were, because they were first, right? So
Yeah.
that was
They
one
had
of the-
nowhere to go.
That was one of the benefits of being the opener. The other bands had to wait around with all their props and shit.
That's funny.
Oh, that's funny.
Okay, we got one more song.
One more song.
This is another Bandcamp song that I found. And this one actually was on, I think it was on the very last of their 2020 lists, which was just the essential. This was their pick of essential 2020 albums. And it's and I actually picked it because the name is Armand.
Huh.
I think it's actually Armand Hammer.
Armand Hammer.
Armand Hammer. But I figured, just as homage to having Armand on the show,
There we go.
here we go. So we're going to listen to a song called Leopards.
Leopards, my favorite big cat. All right, Leopards it is. If I can find it. Yeah, Leopards. Here we go.
Gifted, I ain't give him jack. Turned Jehovah's Witness on Christmas. Hard grifters, give me that. Unscrewed the plates, left it parked up in Ditmas. Covered in tickets with two flats. You two-faced. Dreddy, I think different. It's more than a few ways to skin cats. Pelts draped, drip, dripping. We wore the skulls as a mask. Took the boys to the forest, shared secret stories and cut them fast. It takes blood to be a man. Blood in, blood on your hands. Blood on the leaves, blood trails where they ran. The gang's all here, even if it ain't a gang. The cook pop bubble with fan pain. Bitter grains. The big man ate, they could barely breathe.
Yes, yes, yes.
I can get into that, yeah.
More of that, please.
All about that.
Yeah. A masterpiece of alternative hip-hop, heavy lyrics and vocals, heavy instruments, heavy feats. What else to say? I can't wait till the next one. Favorite track, Ramses 2 featuring More Mother, Earl Sweatshirt, and Fielded. Huh. Let's hear a little bit of that.
Oh,
Yeah, I wonder if they'll have like guitar and band type stuff, or if they do electronic stuff too.
Yeah.
yeah.
We're definitely seeing a lot more of that.
Yeah, for sure.
In that kind of like horror, hardcore rap crossover.
Yeah.
Ghost Main and
And it sounds like from the description, this one was another one of those that was kind of recorded as things were happening.
gotcha.
Blood on the leaves, Lady Day and the meat eating old Ford. Why dipper mouth blowing snot in the Hermes cloth for Jesus? Satch the cleanest since he copied lace from the priest. And his tree from Jefferson County in the spaghetti road. The most drip saints marching in since Tucson with the machete, giving body blows to the beast. Kept them crackers on a leash. Jesus peace. Now come here, get 3/5 a slice of this Africa cake. Diamond south of Savon, I mean the pussy of Africa.
Yeah, that's something I want to go back and listen to.
Yeah, completely.
The whole record.
This is getting added to the actual wish list, not just the wish list.
14 songs.
But I kind of want to read this. It says in the description, it says, by the end of the record, the message is clear. Utopias belong to the people only to those who are rich and privileged enough to build them. To the people who ruin skylines with their multi-million-dollar shrines to nothing. In 2020's deeply misguided sprint to brand everything with songs on it a pandemic record, Shrines interrogates the one pandemic that's been here for decades, the way unchecked capitalism is allowed to run roughshod over everything in its path. I doubt we will see a vaccine anytime for that one.
Wow.
It's true.
Yeah, straight up.
Yeah.
Capitalism is the reason why we don't get a monthly stipend so that we can stay home. But hey, whatever.
It's kind of like a message that's kind of been said before, but it's just so much. It's just different to hear it now. Like after all the things that have happened, you're just like, yeah, we need more songs like this, even though we've had them, but just keep repeating.
Yeah. Well, and I think for people who weren't hearing it or didn't want to hear it or just couldn't like wrap their head around what any of that could mean, to see the comparisons between the United States and other countries who are also capitalist but in a slightly more regulated way, are able to do. And not fall apart, not fall into social chaos or, an obscene number of deaths beyond what was necessary, what would have been necessary if we had, done things a little different. It's crazy.
Yeah. And that was it. That was our last song.
All right. So before I close the share down, then we're
gonna get demonetized.
No,
I'm not even. We were looking to get monetized.
We're doing the ballad song.
Yeah. So this is Bandages, and I think it's a fucking brilliant song, but might not be everyone's taste. We'll see. Get your lighters out.
Scared in the shape of my face, a version of me falling free. Scared in the shape of my heart, you could build a model of one so free.
So
they're gonna pick up at the 1 minute mark?
Oh yeah. Well, so
I was waiting
one
for
thing
those drums.
one thing you'll notice compared to other ballads is that he's tuned down to like C.
The guitar part's really cool. That's a good.
Isn't it really cool? But you don't hear that like, he's got a little gain, so it's cracking up a little bit. But when he hits that low note, you go, oh, "Shit, we're not in regular land. This is
if
a ballad."
It was a regular, that would have been done on a piano.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's hear a little.
Bandages on me, I'm wounded in love. Bandages I need to cut off the blood.
What a ballad. What a ballad.
I could do that all day.
Yeah.
That's how you do the heaviest chorus for a love song that has ever been played.
That was a good drop.
Oh, this is cool. We've talked about this a lot, and whether bands would start doing this. Look at, they posted demo versions of some of the songs.
I saw that.
Up on Bandcamp.
Yeah.
Like documenting the process. That's one of the really cool things about Bandcamp is the ability to go back and say, want to hear what it sounded like before we recorded it?
Yeah.
Fuck it.
I mean, what do you think about that, Chris? It's something we talked about before where a lot of bands will go and they'll pull their old music offline because they don't want people to hear how bad they were. I get it, but at the same time, like, you know, I mean, what do you think? Would fans want to hear that?
I mean, I think it's the beauty of how it is that it's up to the person listening if they want to or not. You know, a lot of the, you know, death metal albums I got back in the day on CD, it'd be like 11 songs and then you'd have like 6 more of the demos. And sometimes they'd be really cool and like, man, yeah, I can see how like it's cool how it went from this to that. And sometimes like, you wouldn't care. I mean, you know, a lot of bands, I wouldn't want bands who shouldn't be doing that, you know, like some random ass band being like, all right, here's our double record. And next month we're going to release all the demo versions. It's like, okay, like just, you know, promote your one thing for what it is. But I'm cool with it, man. I was telling you, I listened to the Blondie catalog the other day.
Yeah.
Like the record before the one that blew them up, they had the demo version of that one hit, the big
Heart of Glass.
Yeah, like the demo version of it, but it was like the New York garagey rock type, like how they'd written it before it got produced. I was like, dang, it's really cool. So it's really cool to hear that and what it got turned into. So yeah, I'm for it.
Yeah, I think it's, you know, and to me it's interesting because I think you hear your favorite bands that you really admire, and then you hear that they used to also suck. It just kind of gives me hope, actually.
Yeah,
you know, they also started where I was starting from.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, they're fun. And I'll say Jordan from 2 Minutes to Late Night has done a great job of all these covers during the pandemic.
Oh, they've been awesome.
But the root of it is that Mutoid Man was his backing band, and they loved just doing random ass covers. And so they started doing them during his live show. And they put out if you're watching on video, you can see I'm pulled up. They put out a 3-song covers EP a couple years ago that have this ones that they tend to play live a lot, like She's the Lady. That one's always fun. The Tom Jones cover. Yeah. They cover really fun songs, but there's you can tell they understand music and songwriting and have an appreciation for a wide range of, you know, kinds of music, and not just they're just not in a bubble of like heavy, you know, whatever genre or subgenre of heavy metal they play, just repeating that over and over again. And you know, as always comes up, that's pretty much all my favorite bands are like, you know, threw off the shackles of you know, genre rules and just mine everything, because why not? And then create their own sound with that.
Yeah.
So
I tell you.
Yeah, it's sort of like I keep listening to analysis in the wake of the finishing up all the Star Wars movies, right? How, you know, should we wipe the last 3 from the canon, and why is The Mandalorian so much better? And I think The Mandalorian's better for a lot of reasons, but I think the most important one is because the people who made the movie obviously don't just love Star Wars. They love all the things that inspired Star Wars to be Star Wars.
Yeah.
And so Lucas made 3 original movies, and then he tried to retcon some weird political shit, still semi-original, but already with a full awareness of those first 3 movies, so almost like making Star Wars movies. And then 100%, except for, in my opinion, the Last Jedi, the reference point for the last 3 movies was just the first 3 movies. And then The Mandalorian said, no, we actually want to make, in the Star Wars universe, a movie or a show inspired by all the things Lucas loved, the reasons he made Star Wars in the first place, you know, back into the Westerns and the samurai movies and all of that stuff. And so they strangely feel much more authentically Star Wars, because they're not just copying some old Star Wars thing that you saw already. And it's such a simple choice.
How did we start talking about Star Wars?
Because we're talking about like you know, covers and the like what's authentic.
Oh,
and,
gotcha.
And when
It's
you're
like the big budget ones were covers of their former selves.
Oh,
basically.
okay, yeah.
So
okay.
like,
I'm
so like,
following now.
so like, Yeah, in a metal genre, the last 6 movies are just all the bands that came after Pantera that want to sound like Pantera, or all the bands.
I know
whatever.
what you mean, but
I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah, this is the first year I voted for the Grammys.
Let's talk about that.
When the first round came out, where they were just like, here's all the submissions. It's like it's an impossible amount of music to listen to. But for the metal category, there was only 100 songs instead of like 2,000. So me and my wife sat down one day and we're like, I think it took 2 days, but we're just going to go top to bottom every single thing in the metal genre. And it was like kind of depressing, to be honest, of like 80% of it was just like, they clearly want to be AC/DC. They clearly want to be Metallica, and like they're doing nothing different. Like they're trying to make it sound like certain records. None of it is new. It's just that same thing again, and here it is. Yeah. But there were a few that were just like, yes, that's where I want to see metal going. Like that's something different. And like it's like it feels like metal kind of gotten stagnant in certain things.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of nice to see there are some bands out there that are like, we're doing things. Obviously the underground's different because they're not going to be up for the Grammys and whatnot, but yeah, it's just like that. It's like let's just keep making Kill 'Em All, and we'll make it sound like that. And it's like, dude, it's been done. It's been done after it's been done.
Since you voted, can you say who you think is going to win? Not who you voted for, but who you think will win?
In the metal one, I don't know. There were some weird nominations.
Yeah.
Metal Performance was interesting, and that's the one that High on Fire won. That was so awesome. And you could see like the voting base shifting a little bit at the Grammys with recent. Mm-hmm. But I mean, there's good stuff on the Best Metal Performance this year. Has Power Trip, which I really feel like was an honor, to honor Riley. It's not like all of a sudden Power Trip had some, did something different. It's for a live performance of a song from a 2-year-old album or whatever, and Code Orange. But then you also have to. But then you have Body Count. It's like,
I hate that one.
I know.
I hate that one so much.
But then
I don't think I could finish that one. I tried.
Really? Oh man!
When they just got to the bridge and they start shouting their own name, I was done.
Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah.
It's like rap rock but done bad, and they have 2 bridges where they just start shouting Body Count, which is the band name for the entire bridge twice. I'm pretty sure. And I was like, I'm done. I can't.
It's hilarious. It's hilarious that those 2 ended up on there because
seriously,
they were two people famously associated because they joined forces online, Riley and Ice-T, to yell at the guy from Trapped, who is running his mouth on social media and had beef with both of them. Yeah. So then the last thing Riley recorded was a Pandemic cover video of a Body Count song. So he's in the video for one of the songs on this. Maybe that song. I don't even know.
Interesting.
That's weird as hell. Yeah, but Code Orange, and then the others are one of my guilty pleasure for 2020, Poppy.
Yeah, my wife loves that one.
Yeah.
I was unsure about it.
Which song? Blood Money. I mean, have you listened to any other Poppy since she went down the metal path? I know a little bit. Yeah, a lot of young people knew about her just because she was like a YouTube sensation,
YouTube weirdo.
Mm-hmm. But man, the first video that came out for I think the newest record that she recorded, Concrete, is crazy. Speaking of Jellyfish and the Beatles, there's giant breakdowns. There's like Beatles, like psychedelic passages. There's that Japanese kind of heavy metal, baby metal style stuff. It's fucking all over the place, man. I don't know. And I just read an interview where she said she's written a whole new record during the pandemic, and she was essentially an electronic artist. So most of her experience in the studio is going into the studio and building a song in the studio. But she wrote an album, and they're actually going to go in. Her touring band is going to go into the studio and record like a band, like a real band, which I think is for her will probably be a fascinating experience because it's it could be. I'm really curious to hear what comes out of that. I mean, I don't know. I think
that'll be interesting. That's the kind of stuff where it's like, I don't want these like crusty dudes with the long hair who didn't really make it. It's like I want these people who don't really know metal, who found their way into it, and like, what are they going to do with it? Where's it going to evolve to?
Yeah, exactly. So what is the requirement for being able to vote?
You have to be a member of the Recording Academy. So I had to prove that my name is on records, that I've done work in the industry.
All right.
And I had to have 2 people already in the industry like personally recommend me to be able to join.
Oh,
And luckily,
okay.
I knew the lady who is now the president of the San Francisco chapter. We were good friends, so she was one of my recommendations. Then she became
Nice.
the president. I was like, oh well, that was good timing.
Yeah.
It's a good recommendation to have. Seriously.
Has it been a fun or interesting experience so far?
Yeah,
Like something you continue?
Forced me to listen to music that I would not have otherwise, and kind of it's seeing what trends are, what people are listening to, and then what's getting nominated out of those bunches and things like that. So yeah,
How
it's
many
been
people
cool.
vote? How many people are? It's all members.
You have to be a voting member, but it's big. There's
And
a
I
lot.
think your voting is determined, like what categories you vote. Isn't it determined by what your role is? Like they have
Kind of.
engineers voting on the like technical stuff, or
I mean, I was open to vote for anything that I wanted to, except for there was an Atmos category,
okay,
which obviously they were
You don't
they're
have
like
ex-
there's a special committee and like yeah, so I couldn't vote for that one. But like I chose not to vote for like the classical things because I was
Yeah.
like I would, even if I listened
don't
through
know.
everything, I wouldn't know
yeah,
why I would vote for one over the other. So I stuck to like pop, rock, and R&B and alternative and all that stuff. The alternative category was honestly my favorite.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, getting through like the Fiona Apple record, the Tame
Oh,
Impala, Kiwanuka was on that one, I think. Brittany
I listen-
Howard.
we listened.
nice.
We listened to Fiona Apple in the car the other day, and my kids were like, "What is this?" It's fucking weird. It's a weird record. It's really
like it.
quirky.
I'm into it.
I like
yeah.
it a lot, but
it
it's
was good.
really quirky. I mean, she's
Stuck with
such a
me.
yeah. I mean, she's clearly like a brilliant musician,
Mm-hmm.
and then I think she's been playing with a lot of jazz folks over the. I mean,
Yeah,
it's what
whoever she had playing on that. They name dropped a drummer, and I can't remember it off the top of my head, but he was a big
Yeah.
deal drummer from something, and
Yeah.
that was cool.
and there's
Yeah.
a stand-up bass all over the record, and her.
It was done in her like apartment in LA or something, like it,
Oh,
not
wow.
a studio. It was just, you can hear it, like her dogs
Wow.
are barking in between songs.
Yeah.
Oh
and
really?
stuff.
yeah,
That's amazing.
And her just like phrasing, chord choices,
Yeah,
chord changes is so unique. It's like
just
that.
delivery, how she
Yeah.
says
Yeah.
words, it just sticks with you.
I'm gonna have to listen again.
Yeah.
Listen
That's
for the
cool.
dogs because I've
Yeah.
never noticed it.
Yeah,
Well,
there's a
and
good
then-
like 30 seconds of it at the end of one song, just dogs going crazy.
Yeah, there's all kinds of weird stuff like them hitting tin pans. I know
Yeah.
there's like just all kinds of crazy shit, but there's that one song, was it Shaniqua?
Yeah, something like that.
The
Shaniqua
story.
said I had potential. Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Well, that story came out because it's
I didn't read
real.
it.
So
Yeah.
it's about a kid that she went to grade school with, and she went to try and sit down at the cool kids table, and they made fun of her, and Shaniqua like got in their way and interfered and like stood up for her and told
Nice.
her, and told her she had potential.
That's cool.
So then she keeps in touch with a teacher from grade school, like a third grade teacher, a favorite teacher of all time. That teacher heard the record, and she goes, this is a real story, right? You remember this? And she's like, at this point in my life, I don't know if I thought I remembered it, but I could have
Yeah.
totally made that up. Like that
Yeah.
could be wrong. And so the lady put her in touch with the real Shaniqua,
That's
and they
cool.
like they reconnected, and
That's
that
amazing.
lady's a recording artist.
Oh wow.
And so
Re-
she
Shaniqua
made like
is?
and so she
Oh,
made
wow.
like a response song that Fiona
That's
Apple
cool.
performed on, I think.
Wow.
So
That's
I'll have to
cool.
check that
That's
out.
like
I didn't
that's
know
super
that.
cool.
yeah.
That song,
Nice.
that song was like the one that was, when I heard that one, it was in like the singles category. I was like, oh, I got to hear that album. And I was,
Yeah.
yeah, it was cool. It delivered.
Yeah, for
Nice.
sure.
What
Yeah.
do you have a favorite album from last year? Like just overall.
2020?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
the year before that? Oh, man, I don't know.
20.
Not really.
Yeah. I know
I
it's
don't know.
always
I
hard
listened
to
to a lot
be
of
like,
older-
there's one album I just thought was the best.
I don't.
Like,
I
yeah,
don't
last year was
usually.
such a blur. You know?
I know, right?
Yeah, I don't usually.
I like the Sun
but I do-
record. I like the Sun record a lot.
You do? Oh,
Yeah.
I did, yeah.
Life-
'Cause,
life
Steve
metal?
Albini did it. It sounded like maybe it was production. Just it sounded really good for a band like that.
Yeah.
It's just I was like, this. It was just really cool. I've had it in my car for
Yeah.
a long time, scaring people as I was driving around. You know? What's going
It's
on?
funny you mentioned that because there was some record that we listened to really early on on the show, and I think we picked at the production, and then I went and looked afterwards, and it was like a Steve Albini produced. We were like, okay, they meant it to sound that way. Like,
Sorry.
Yeah. Some people hate him. I like him. You know, you got to be a good band to work with him, though.
Oh yeah,
If
completely.
you suck, you're gonna sound like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't usually I can't usually pinpoint a favorite record, but I actually had one for last year for sure. That Kveler Attack record is 100%. I have listened to that more than anything, by a long shot. So
Yeah.
that's a killer record.
Yeah, it'd be hard to say. I feel like the Elephant Tree, the Habits record was fucking incredible.
Habits is really good. Yeah, it's really good, and not to knock them at all. It didn't go anywhere new.
I can see that.
It kind of like it had really good versions of great Elephant Tree songs. Like what's the one Bird? That song was incredible. But if Bird and Sales were on the first record, I wouldn't have.
Oh, you wouldn't know.
I wouldn't know I wouldn't know the difference.
Yeah.
Is that how you felt about the Tool record too, the new one?
Pretty much.
Like
those are all like really great parodies of the best things about Tool. Very like listenable. I listened to a couple of the songs a lot this over the course of the year, but I wouldn't like throw on that record.
Yeah,
and listen to the whole thing. I
was one of those. I went deep. I loved it. I thought it was great.
I liked it too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like I had access to a mastering studio at that point. Like I had the keys and like these ridiculous like $50,000 speakers and stuff. And
really?
I had the experience of going in there with my wife, just turning all the lights off and just playing it like top to bottom, which nobody does anymore. So in that context, I was like, I freaking love this record, but I don't think I listened to it a second time.
Yeah. No, I think and I tried to do it right. Like the album came out and I did listen to it for like 3 days because I needed to be able to get on my good Shure headphones, like in ear, like you know, with the wire, and then melt into the couch,
sit and
in the
listen
dark
and do nothing else.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's hard to do. It's so weird.
It has moments that are as good or better than any other moment on any other Tool record, I think, but it just doesn't sound any different.
I think you could just throw it into like the Tool playlist and like you're not gonna be sad 100%. When it comes on or comes through, but
you know, everything post Opiate they all sound like they could be the same record.
They're all
to me.
I mean, there's progression. You can hear the progression, but they're all very. But yeah, I mean, if you take Opiate, like get that reggae motherfucker out of here and compare it to, you know, Fear Inoculum, like, whoa, that band changed.
Well, the production changed so much, but they like settled into a lane after that I think they haven't really gotten out of. One thing that I do think seemed really clear to me about this Tool record is that it's a Danny Carey record.
Oh yeah,
for sure. And then he let them write Tool songs around his drum record.
I'm gonna write 7 drum songs.
Early on. The drums were insane on that, and his kit's got to be a hard one to record and like get it to sound right. I'm sure he's very particular, and there's a lot going on.
Oh yeah,
samples and all that.
Yeah, we've already said, but that we saw that was the last big show that either of us, like arena show that either of us went to.
It's like the only arena show I've seen in like 5 years, but maybe 10.
Yeah,
other
not
than
theater.
Psycho, but
we saw Mr. Bungle. That was that was a couple thousand people. That was still
a venue.
Yeah,
theater. So, well, let me ask. So I think let's kind of wrap things up a little bit here. We've been going for a while, but is your hometown Denver technically?
Yeah,
I mean outside of Denver.
I was born in Denver, and we lived there for a bit. Yeah.
Okay. One thing we always ask at the end of every show is like your all-time hometown favorite band.
Yeah, do you have a?
So it could be, it could be. It doesn't have to be wherever. Where is it that you're from outside of Denver, by the way?
Littleton. Just
okay. I have family in Littleton.
Yeah, it was a bubble. It's a super burbs.
Yeah.
Hometown heroes, man. I think Havoc, man. Havoc, I discovered them at the right time and just I was like, oh, there's bands right now doing this kind of stuff, which seems like opposite of what I've been saying of like people doing like what Metallica did, but they did it in a cool way. It was like uniquely them, and the fact that they're still doing it, and like you can talk to people from Denver about Havoc, and like they're still active, still making records, doing all this stuff. It's cool that kind of finding a band like that. They were pretty small back then. But they just kept doing it. They're still doing it. They have a following. They're doing their thing, doing it well. That's cool to see.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's super cool.
Are you familiar with any of the kind of newer breed of heavy bands out of Denver?
No, I have my brother who's still out there has some friends in like doom bands. I know there's a big doom thing going on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not
There's a
really.
really
I
good
don't
band
really
called Abrams.
Abrams is great. Abrams kind of like a post-metal-y.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call them doom, but I don't know.
Sort of
Just
a
listen.
sludge.
Yeah. Chemist. Chemist is incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Like twin guitar, power metal, plus doom, plus some.
But they're not corny power metal.
Yeah, I know. I know. They have their moments. They're super good. Yeah, isn't Primitive Man from Denver?
I think they might be. Yeah.
The heaviest band on earth.
That's funny. I've probably seen bands that are from Denver, and I wouldn't have even known. You
wouldn't even know it.
know?
Yeah, exactly.
Love Gang. Is Love Gang? There's one of those weird doom bands that has a goofy name that doesn't sound.
Are you a band from Denver? Send us your music.
Yeah.
Yeah. Promotion.
Yeah, but there is kind of a Denver is heavier is a saying that goes around a lot.
I
And
know they're known for heavy and for beer is like the Denver
And for beer.
band.
Yep. Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Cool with me.
And they have some cool smaller venues. Oh, Cloudcatcher. That's
that's right. Cloudcatcher.
There's a bunch of them.
Yeah, that's right.
Here are
I need
9.
to go back and like go to some of the cool spots down there because like every time I go back, I'm in Littleton with my family and we don't really get to go out to the downtown. But downtown's super cool. I remember going to like the Ogden, the Bluebird, I think, like kind of mid-sized ones. But yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we're gonna.
It's funny. The last time I was in Denver, I was there for a trip with a bunch of guys that I went to high school with, and we were downtown, and we were just bar hopping, and we came out of one Irish pub downtown, and I looked across the street at some not theater, but like a live music venue, and I just saw Helmet on the marquee, and I was like, I'm done. I'm done bar hopping. Going to Helmet.
Yeah. Totally.
All right, so here was a recent. I remember this article, a relatively recent article, and you're gonna want to write down all of these names. They're all sending to you because the first one was a band that we saw at Psycho. The first year that we went that blew my fucking head open. Called Dreadnought. That I don't even know how to describe.
Were they the one that had the drummer that also played the saxophone?
The drummer that also played the saxophone at the same time.
What? He would pick that shit up with one hand and be like,
yes. No.
It was
insane.
Amazing.
No.
That's a nightmare for the sound guy, though. Jesus.
Right?
And they're another one of those bands that gets shit because they'll take black metal is the one that always seems to get people the most mad. Like if you do some black metal in your non-black metal song, you make a lot of people angry, and they do a lot of that.
Yeah.
In the Company of Serpents is rad. The Munsons.
The Munsons.
The Munsons are so fucking heavy.
Oh, so good.
God, we played with them in I forget where.
So good
in San Antonio, and they just fucking destroyed that venue. Of Feather and Bone, don't know them. Abrams.
Yep.
There we go. Call of the Void.
Oh
yes.
yeah.
I know about them. Muscle Beach.
Oh yeah. I didn't know they were from Denver.
Well, they are.
It's not a very Denver name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Wayfarer. Glacial Tomb is the guy from Chemist's his death metal.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Death metal band.
Gotcha.
That's everybody they
Nice.
listen. I think they didn't list Chemist because we're already popular.
Well, since you kind of mentioned it, what's your favorite brewery in Denver?
Oh man. We always end up at Breckenridge Brewery. That's a solid one. They're kind of big.
Breck
though.
Brew.
Yeah. Always go to Great Divide. That's a good one.
Yeah.
There's a couple good just tap houses that aren't really breweries. The names kind of escape me, but just the downtown hop. It's always about high gravity, dark stouts. You go to 2 places and you're just like, oh man,
You're done.
You're done.
There's a light rail.
Yeah, the one of the guys in Chemist is one of the head brewers at True, I think.
Oh, at True?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
think so.
Oh yeah, True. I have that shirt.
True is
That
great.
place
Yes.
is awesome too. I took my parents there and they did not understand it.
It's like taking them to Ghost Town in Oakland.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh
what
yeah.
is this?
I
What is
I
this?
haven't done that, but anytime we go back there, like me and my wife like always demand like one day that we actually go to Denver. My parents are split, so we have to like kind of separate our time
spread
half
it
and
out.
half. So like we don't have any time for ourselves. We're like one
Yeah.
day, like here's the list of breweries we want to do. We have one day to do it, so we're gonna start here and we're gonna work our way, and we need a ride. You know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Have you found good stuff in Southern California since you moved away from the Bay
Oh, yeah.
Area? Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
there's plenty of good beer, but what's kind of like the current under the radar good stuff?
So when we first moved here, all the breweries in LA were still shut because LA had that weird thing with breweries.
Oh yeah.
So we were going to Orange County because we're right next to that in
of
Long
course.
Beach. So in Anaheim, there's a place called Unsung.
Okay.
They're really good. There's a place called Stereo Brewing. That place is really good. Also in Anaheim. There's a ton out here, man.
Yeah. I'm
LA
sure.
Ale Works is a good one in LA.
El
we picked
Segundo
up-
is
there's
one
a
of my
place called
favorites from
Hop
down that
Saint.
way.
In Torrance.
Oh yeah, I've heard of Hop Saint.
Oh,
They
yeah.
surprised us big time with their IPAs, like really good stuff. Yeah, usually when we go to new places, that how we like explore is finding breweries and
Yeah.
just driving to them, and that's like, okay, this is this area, let's get some
Yep.
beers and see if there's other breweries around.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah, always a good starting point. Well, I think we did it.
We do it. We did it.
We did it.
Thanks
Awesome.
for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for
Yeah, thanks for having me.
thanks for listening to music, and thanks for not being real picky about production.
No, can't do it.
You
I
very
have my
easily could have
opinions,
been.
but
Yeah.
those are all pretty good.
Yeah, no, and you're hearing it through Zoom. So we have a super clean feed of it. You're getting the Zoom version of it, which is a little degraded.
Yeah.
I know because I've checked both.
Yeah.
It's not awful, but it's not perfect.
yeah.
So, anyways, awesome. Well, it was really good to see and talk to you. I'm sure I'll bug you about some more production shit soon.
Please do.
Yeah, thanks for helping us. Make our production better.
problem.
Indeed.
No problem.
All right, everybody, say goodbye to Chris. I'm going to put him in
Goodbye to Chris.
the waiting room.
Later, guys. Peace out.
Have
All
a good
right.
one. Take care. Have a great week.
You too.
All right.
Alrighty.
Who knew we had a Grammy voter?
Seriously.
I actually did. I just forgot.
I didn't.
How cool though. What a cool
That
experience.
would be actually really cool to just be sent all of this music to listen to.
Yeah, and to know what's all under consideration, because
Yeah.
all we ever see are the actual nominees.
Yeah,
So yeah, I don't know.
exactly. How do you get? Is there like a requirement to be considered? Or you just have to submit.
I don't know. I was gonna go the next level to sort of ask how they figure out how did they get the 2000 songs? Is there some smaller committee that's the selection committee or what? But
Yeah.
I don't want to bore everyone into a fucking sleeping
Somebody
death.
send us an email,
Yeah, well, I'm sure there's.
or we could just Google it.
I'm
but
sure there's an article out there somewhere that explains it. That's kind of what I figured was.
Yeah.
I'll just find the article and read it instead
Exactly.
of making Chris tell us. So that was Chris. It was an interesting conversation because he is an engineer and producer that most people in heavy music haven't heard of, don't know. He's already had his fingers on quite a bit of stuff, and he's just a guy, but who's now voting on the Grammys and getting flown to El Salvador
Yeah.
to make death metal records. I
it's
mean,
insane.
he's a hustler though. Like, I've worked with Chris at a bunch of different studios. He can live engineer, he can mix, he can master, he can work in the studio, he can mix remotely. And he's just all in. It's all he does. He's been building up his base of clients and stayed busy. I checked in with him, during the year this year. Just
Do what you love.
how's it going? And he's jamming, he's kicking ass. So good for him.
Yeah, that's great. That's
Awesome. Well, as
Very cool.
as JD teased, we do have some cool ass guests coming up,
We do.
including
Yeah.
Andy Patterson from Sub Rosa and
Insect Arc
Insect Arc, and
a ton of other bands prior to those.
and any band that needs a drummer.
Yep.
And then recording and producing music
Yeah,
as well.
another-
Another producer, the Abrams, who we mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Andy, I think, made both of their records.
Yeah, he
So-
did.
And then Sasha will be fun as hell too. Sasha Dunable from Intronaut and Dunable Guitars, and his defunct podcast, Fightcast podcast, which I love, and I'll yell at him for not making
For
any
not
more.
making it anymore.
Too busy building guitars, I guess. By
Maybe
the
we could just make that a segment on ours.
to fight. We'd have to pay him royalties or something. I don't know if I want to get into that. So, and final reminder, contest.
Yes.
I think that my portion of the contest running on Facebook is going to run until this Friday. So I'll post again. So that will be Friday, let me get you a date, the 15th of January. And then I'll drop all the names of people who submitted me proof that they left a review in Apple and are subscribed, and I'll pick one out of a hat. Oh, and if you come across the original post and share it and tag at least 5 friends, I'll double the number of entries in your name, so you'll get 2.
See that business?
Yeah, see that business?
On mine, all you got to do is go subscribe to us on YouTube. And I'm not giving this damn thing away until we reach 100.
All
We're
right.
like 55 right now.
All right. Now
that's all you have to do.
That's a powerful YouTube channel right there.
Click a link, push a button.
That's some serious reach.
Right?
Listen up, all 55 of you watching this video.
Well, that's just subscribers, you know.
Yeah, tell 5 of your friends.
Yeah,
and then maybe we'll have 250 subscribers.
Exactly. We're in it for the money, folks. We're in it for the money.
In it for the check. It's a podcast.
It's true. It's a podcast. We're not. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, it was a blast. We did it. We listened to a shit ton of music.
Music.
We went on some side journeys, and now I think we are done. So, thanks again, everybody, for joining us on another episode of Blynd Submyshynz. We out.
Thanks for joining us for another week of Blynd Submyshynz. See episode description for links to all artists discussed in this episode, and visit their sites to support them directly by buying music and merch. Share links to the podcast or YouTube videos with your friends, especially if they're in bands. Bands, if you want us to listen to your music on a future episode, please submit one song to blyndsub@gmail.com. That is blyndsub, BLYNDSUB@gmail.com. Bandcamp links preferred, but not required. Find us on social media at Blynd Submyshynz. Full video episodes are available on our YouTube. Remember, we go in blind, so you don't have to. Blynd Submyshynz.